I claim this planet in the name of Mars.
Blaze 434.
What up? What up? What up?
What up? What's good?
What up, bro? We are late, but we're fucking here, man.
We got Ali in the house already. What's good, Ali? Yeah, we late, man. I forgot it was Wednesday, bro.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I woke up late as fuck. I slept really bad last night, man. It was just an ugly night last night, and so we apologize, man. We apologize. Yeah. It's gonna be a little bit shorter show, but the good thing is what's up with it? How you doing, A-Town? What's up? But the good thing is about the show today is what we're going to do is we're going to have a short show today, but hopefully tomorrow or next week, I'm going to have I guess I'm going to try to get fucking Sebastian back on here, have a conversation.
We got Sunday Night Smoke in the house. A-Town.
Sunday Night Smoke. What up? What up? What up? What up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing well, alive and kicking it. All right, man. So we're going to talk about a couple things. There's a few things going on in the news. A few things that I kind of want to get into. But let's just start real quick on how you feel about this whole Afghanistan situation. To be honest, how you feel about that?
Man, I for one, I feel like we didn't have no business over there in the first place, man. That's, you know what I'm saying? When America tries to do what it does and gets involved in the affairs of other countries and do what's called, quote, spread our democracy, it always ends up bad. We need to let these other sovereign countries do their own thing. They tried to install what they had over there already was a fake government. It was a prop puppet government setup. Right. They didn't follow through with it, and it crumbled. And now the area is in turmoil. You've seen the same thing happen in the Balkan countries when they was rivaling with the Soviet Union. You've seen it happen in Iraq. They did it in Libya, killed Gaddafi. They tried to do it in Korea to Kim Jong-un, but Kim Jong-un is too insulated. You know what I mean? Like it's just literal the pattern that always happens. You know what I'm saying? Right. How you feel about it, bro?
I've always had an issue with the war itself. All this shit started in right around 1974 or so, and we got into that situation because let's just be fucking honest, we had a problem with communism and right. And the Russia, because it was during the Cold War, right? So we went on the opposite side of what they were going on, regardless on shit. We didn't care. We just wanted to be on the opposite side. So that was nothing more than, us posturing, right? So we got involved on bullshit pretenses anyway, because we were just doing it to posture against Russia, right?
Fact.
Then fucking after that, we left. As soon as Russia was defeated, we got up and left them stranded without shit, right? Then we tried to get involved with the whole Saddam Hussein and all that shit, but we couldn't find a way in at that point. But the minute 9/11 happened, 9/11, or not 2/11, but 9/11 happened. I'm thinking about drinking, okay, clearly. Okay.
Right.
But as soon as that happened, we found a reason to go in there and fuck up, destabilize Saudi Arabia and fucking take down fucking, Saddam Hussein. And then we used that as a reason to fucking just do whatever the fuck we wanted out there, right? And so after that, we handed off Saddam Hussein. Then we supposedly caught and captured and killed bin Laden, right? And we stayed there and we kept on telling everybody, we're getting out of here. We're done. We're getting out. Right? And the thing is about it is during the Bush years, we wanted out of the war. During Obama years, we wanted out of the war. We even wanted out of the war just like this year, right? And then all of a sudden we get out, and now here comes the Republicans talking about, oh, this is Biden's fault and blah, 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 blah. Do you guys not know this is everybody's fault? Fuck out of here. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people don't really understand the situation out there. And I've never liked it to be out there. We spent over $1 trillion being out there. And I thought it was only like, a few $100 million, but guess what? It's over $1 trillion that we spent out there. So I'm like, yeah, get the fuck out. I don't give a shit. We spilled blood of our brothers and sisters, especially in the Black community. And let's not get this twisted. A lot of Black folks is in the military. You know what I mean? So we've lost a lot of brothers and sisters, a lot of soldiers and shit like that. Spent a lot of money that we could have spent over here. Let's be honest. $1 trillion would have done a lot for the Black community.
Right. We got Brooklyn, Maine in the house. What's good, Brooklyn, Maine?
What up with it? Thank you all for the awards also. So in my opinion, we should have been out there long ago. Now, what's happening in Afghanistan, it's a terrible thing. Let me first say that. Right, exactly. And what's going on is a terrible thing. It's absolutely terrible. I want to fucking first say that before I say the next thing I'm about to say, because I don't care, okay? It's a terrible thing that's going on. And we just saw some folks that were jumping on a plane. Did you see that video?
Yeah, all them people in that coronavirus incubation capsule with no masks on.
No, the video of the people were trying to get on the plane.
Yeah, I seen that. That's the one. Okay. They all trying to pile into, like, if they all packed like sardines in a little small area.
Right, and then they grabbed onto the plane, and then the plane takes off, and a whole bunch of people. Shit. Yeah, a whole bunch of people, like 3-4 people, fell to their deaths.
What? Nah, I didn't see all that.
You didn't see that video?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh,
I didn't see that. I gotta see that.
Yeah.
What? And what did they think they was gonna do on the outside of the plane? Like,
they thought they was gonna
monkey bar it up all the way back to the United States. Yeah, somebody was getting dropped off in the Atlantic.
Right. You know they thought, oh shit, you know what I mean? We can, go off and, hold on, and we can make it to wherever the plane is going. Right?
Wow.
And so here's the thing. And I know this is gonna sound really fucked up. But oh wow, nigga, who the fuck taught you that you was Spider-Man? Like, the fuck? The fact, listen, as soon as that motherfucker started moving, your ass should have been jumping. Literally. The minute it started making its way, taxiing down that runway, you should have jumped the fuck off. Okay?
Yeah, I don't know. What did he think they was going to what was the expectation?
He thought that somehow they were going to go off and they were going to open the door for him or some shit like that. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
And they fell off. Then, after the plane landed, they ended up finding someone dead on the the wheels that tuck in and shit. They found somebody
was stuck up in there,
right, dead.
What the
hell?
You
see what I'm saying? And everybody's like, oh, this is Biden's fault, and this is and oh my God, right? I say no, it's not Biden's fault. It's their fault. They're the fucking ones that went off and jumped into the fucking, into that area. They did all this. Look, those people, I'm sorry for everything that happened to them, but they was stupid. And so life's a bitch. Fuck you. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not that fucking dude. I don't feel bad for that. You know what I mean? And you're not going to fucking what's the best word? You're not gonna shame me for not feeling bad for their stupid ass mistakes.
Well,
That's how I feel about that.
yeah, the way I feel about it is I don't we still got life messed up over here. Like the
Right.
United States is not where it needs to be at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Despite the delusion that people want to live under, we are not in good shape here. Our
Mhm.
economy is not doing well. You know what I'm saying? People are out of work. You know what I'm saying? The pandemic still is just killing people at record numbers. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And like my thing is, we shouldn't be all over the place anyway. This is like the second time, you know what I'm saying, in two presidencies that we've messed up where we've been trying to deal with things that we don't have no business dealing with overseas. You
Right.
remember a couple years ago when Trump was still the president and they had that debacle in Syria where
Mhm.
they tried to call themselves bombing those Syrian people. And it
Right.
turned out that those were spies for America and the UK that actually did that chlorine gas on all them people in that
Right.
daycare. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So they got a history of doing this. In my opinion, this is it, people ain't really seeing the long-term effect of it. This is bad for us because on the world stage, yet again, the United States has failed. You know what I'm saying? Like the United States tries to walk around like we some kind of badass and like we just go all over the place regulating. And for real, it just ends up being like a show with the Three Stooges. And like, you know, you got China and Russia sitting back like, all right, look, rest of the world, this is what the United States does. Look how stable we are. So you're gonna start seeing like countries start voting for China and Russia in the UN Security Council and stuff like that. And the United States, they really about to start going on a global decline and not really have as much power as they used to. And I'm interested to see how the United States is going to deal with it because traditionally we've been run by a bunch of people that really don't like being told no. They really
Right.
don't like when other people are superior to them. And you know, like over the last, you know, I would say like 5 to 8 years, we've pretty much shown that we really are not superior to China or Russia anymore. And now these other countries have another option to go to as their large stabilizer. So what's going to happen now?
Right. And I'm all with you on that, but I think it's a little bit bigger than that. I think the fact of the matter is America needs to stop trying to be everybody's fucking big brother.
Facts. The world police. Stop being the damn world police.
Right. Like this is not what the fuck we need to do.
You know what's
It's
crazy though? The United States is the world police. They had a military all over the place, but for some reason they never do in those other countries what they do to black people here in the United States. You never hear about an international George Floyd incident. You never hear
mhm.
about an international, Philando Castile or Elijah McClain incident. For
Right.
some reason, they can go to all these different countries, and they had a military operating as the police, and that never happens. It only happens here to us, who we're all supposed to be the same. You know, we don't see skin color over here, but for some reason over here our police kill our own Americans, black people, and for some reason they manage to not do that when they go elsewhere. I don't understand that.
Well, the reason why is because they have different rules of engagement in those countries, which is actually more strict than they are here. They have more leeway to kill black men in this country than they would have leeway to kill an Afghani or some other group in another country. You understand? And so
Right.
because of that, they get away with that type shit. You know what I mean? So exactly. You cannot fucking police the world when your own house is dirty.
Facts.
Absolutely.
Facts.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? So this whole situation to me is a little too feisty if you ask me. You feel me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Real quick, truck issue party and service members accused of, yeah, exactly, he does. He does do that, and that dude is a straight up murderer. And
Who is
that
that?
okay, so this the fact of the matter is this is an article that Live in History just put up, and
Yeah.
it's about Donald Trump issued the pardon for this one Army or Navy or fucking Marine motherfucker, right? And
Mm.
this motherfucker was literally just going around killing motherfuckers. This dude was literally killing people, and he
Wow.
pardoned them. right? He was found guilty, convicted, and he pardoned him. And he got out.
Well, you know what? And again, like how you were saying, as far as like the whole is Biden's fault, is Trump's fault. Again, it's a pattern of behavior from the United States. The United States just doesn't have any ethics. It wouldn't surprise me that the United States would, pardon a war criminal, because NASA was started by a war criminal. We had Operation Paperclip back during World War II. And in order to get technology and the things that Germany had with their National Socialist Army, the United States did all kind of dirty dealing and didn't put people through the Nuremberg trial and hid them and sequestered them and took them to South America, let them have all kinds of safe haven. A lot of the media companies and the Bushes and the car company Ford, they all have ties to the National Socialist Party. You know what I'm saying? So again, like, it's not really surprising. It's part of the United States protocols, part of they diagram. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So the thing is at the end of the day, I commend Biden for getting our troops the fuck out of there. We need to stay the fuck out of there and worry about us here. Stop trying to play big brother. We got enough problems here. And you could take all that money that you would spend on that wars and all them wars, and you can start paying black folks reparations. Reparations over everything, bitch.
Facts. ROE. You know what I'm saying?
Right? Exactly. So that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Did when Biden was being nice, you know what I'm saying? Did he happen to tell those soldiers, well, if you don't come back to America, you ain't American? Did he tell them that?
No. I don't think so. Not that I know.
So for some reason, he only seems like he can say that kind of stuff to black people for some reason. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But again, like, is anybody surprised though? Like, that's the American protocol. It don't matter who's in. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I'm saying. I say big ups to Biden for getting the fuck out the war. Outside of that, fuck Biden, because Biden's a piece of shit.
Right.
Okay? Please recognize I'm not a Biden fan, nor am I a Trump guy. So please, like, don't put me on into any of that.
Do you know his son has more followers than you and I on social media combined on his OnlyFans account? Did you know about that? He just lost another laptop. You know what I'm saying? And there was an actual conversation with him and a hooker on the laptop. And apparently some Russians ended up getting his laptop. So this is the third laptop that he got. This third laptop has got some more video of him messing around with hookers and doing crack. You know what I'm saying?
Listen. I don't care if that motherfucker is fucking with hookers. There's a lot of motherfuckers out here that like to fucking pay hookers. I say legalize motherfucking prostitution and you won't have this problem. Also, legalize drugs and guess what? You won't have this problem.
You said legalize prostitution?
Yes.
Oh, man, Fresh and Fit they're gonna have a problem with you, bro.
Oh, you know what? Fresh and Fit can suck my big old fat dick. Okay? Legalize prostitution, dude. Listen. If a woman wants to
Jackson in the house. What up, Constance?
if women or even men want to sell their goodies to make money in this economy, they should be able to suck my dick. I don't give two shits. What the fuck? That shit is all waste of time shit, bro. You know what I mean? And I say legalize drugs because legalize the war on drugs is nothing more than a war on black folks.
Yeah, that's facts.
So I don't give two shits what motherfuckers are saying. Fresh and Fit got it all wrong because guess what, Fresh and Fit? You ain't gonna be taking nobody's soul either. Okay? So suck my dick. Oh yeah, and don't fucking come at me, motherfucker, and say let's set up a boxing fight, cause nigga, I'm all for it. My answer is yes, right the fuck now. And my nigga, I don't give a shit if you change your mind. We gonna get it in, nigga. So don't come at me.
I don't think Preach care either.
Don't come at me with that fucking sideways shit either, Negro. You know what I mean? That's why your ass was afraid of a fucking Canadian. Who the fuck is afraid of a Canadian? Not talking no shit about preaching ABBA and shit, but let's just be real about this shit. Nigga, they're Canadian.
Man, that's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Fuck at it. That's about all I got on that shit. Real quick. These dumb Negroes. Real quick, I want to talk about this shit real quick.
What you got? Oh, I heard
Damon
about. I seen some
Wayans.
shit with
Yeah,
Chappelle.
Damon Wayans says he wants to fucking he wants to do a versus battle against Dave Chappelle.
That's dope.
I think it is dope.
But Chappelle gonna win that shit easy.
Right, but Damon, don't do this shit to yourself, my dude. You funny, my dude. But don't do this shit to yourself.
I think this actually is the I think this is actually a good direction for verses to go in.
I do too.
Like, away from music kind of, and like have some like this is actually cool. You know what I'm saying? Because I like Damon Wayans, you know what I'm saying?
I do too.
When he was Major Pain boy. I like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm with it. I think it's a great direction for the Versus channel to go. You know what I mean? Because what it does is it still spotlights, the Black culture and what we've created, right? It does a lot of good for comedians out there that's out there trying to fucking, solidify their name and a whole bunch of other shit. It brings us, that stand-up comedian mentality and, the talking back and forth and everything that goes along with it. So I think this is actually a awesome idea. And I hope somebody does this.
Yeah, that'd be dope. I don't see why Chappelle wouldn't do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
I think it's awesome, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
A-Town says Chappelle versus Hart will be better. I think Damon Wayans is actually funnier than Kevin Hart.
Yeah, I do too. I don't like Kevin Hart. I think Kevin Hart is garbage, to be completely honest. I don't find a lot of his shit funny. It's always the voices and the and all the faces and I say stick to the fucking movies and shit.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's better in the movies in my personal opinion.
No doubt.
I don't know. So it is what it is. So what do y'all think about this actually? I don't know how y'all feel about this.
What is it? The Chappelle thing?
Yeah, the Chappelle.
I'll tell you what. People can look forward to a reaction video to it on my YouTube channel. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a Chappelle fan. I love Dave Chappelle. You know what I'm saying? And I love Damon Wayans, too. Like, that's something, like, I don't really even care who win that. I think Chappelle will win it. You know what I'm saying? Because Chappelle's just, Damon Wayans is funny. He's a great comedian. But Chappelle is just like the Michael Jordan of comedians. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of, that's a hard thing to do. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it'll be dope. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I wanted to kind of bring this up, but next week we're probably going to talk about this a little bit more. Okay. And I want y'all to kind of keep your eyes out on this type situation. What we've had is an uptick in doctors going around taking young Black folks' babies.
What's up with that?
So one of the people that was on American Idol, young Black lady, with her and her husband, they had a child, and the hospital, for some odd reason, found some bullshit reason to actually call CPS and have their child taken away for a few days. But it also happened to a woman in Kentucky also. And let me see if I can find that video. But he actually choked the Black woman, because the Black woman was like, am I healthy to leave? They said yes. She was like, is the baby healthy? Yes. And then she said, I didn't have no drugs in my system, did I? They said no. And then she said, then I'm leaving with my baby. Right? So they bring the police, and then the police snatch the baby carriage right the fuck up out of her hand, and then fucking start choking her, and choked her to her room and tried to force her to stay in the room, and actually did force her to stay in the room. And they called CPS and a whole bunch of other shit for no reason. Now, this is starting to happen more and more again, and I'm going to fucking actually talk about this a lot, but make sure you pay attention to this, because this is very serious with Black folks.
I think it's because they just put out that census information, and it says that there's a fall in the white population.
Right. It's the biggest fall in the white population since like 19 fucking 40 or 50, and that was because of the World War.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, of cop getting killed in Chicago neighborhood known for police. Have you seen? I have not seen that. If you can send that to me somehow, I would be much appreciated. So make sure you pay attention to that. Go ahead and pop that up, and I'll get on to mine. What was that story you got?
This is that one about that's about the fall in the white population.
Right. Okay. So yeah, let's talk about that real quick. There's actually a lot of people that are actually saying there's been a drop in the black population, significant drop. Actually, no. Our numbers are staying very stable.
Yeah, and that's how you know that it's artificial, and that's how you know that they're also doing stuff like what you see with that doctor snatching that baby up to keep our population between 12 and 13%.
Right.
There's a speech that Dr. Claude Anderson did called Inappropriate Behavior, and he talks about how the United States has been consistently trying to keep black people fixated at 13%. It's one of the reasons why they're letting all the immigrants in. There's actually, I don't think that there's an actual fall in the white population either. I think it's smaller. I think that there is, but I think it's smaller than they're making it out to be. I think what this is right here, I think this is just a dog whistle to all of the people of color, you know what I'm saying, to get on code with, you know what I'm saying, these people who are, had a supremacist system of illegitimacy mind state. And then what they want to do is they want to make sure that they have these people all on code for them to be ready to try to regulate black people. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I get that, but I actually will slightly push back, and I slightly disagree. The fact of the matter is the average age of white folks is 41.5 years old. The rate of overdoses and deaths due in the white population on opiates is like way high as fuck, like super high. The highest group that commit suicide is white males, and so and that's white folks in all, right? And then the fact of the matter is their procreation rate has dropped to nearly zero. Okay, and the highest number of people in fertility clinics by race is white males and females.
So think about this, though. Think about this. All of those statistics that you just gave, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with all of those statistics, and then if you look at black people, we probably have one of the highest fertility rates, like where we don't need help, you know what I'm saying, making children and shit.
Yeah, that's why we have so many abortions.
Exactly. You see the dynamic? They got them in fertility clinics to try to get them to produce children, while they're giving the propaganda to black people to get black people to kill their children. And then when you have black families at a hospital who actually have their kids, then you have the hospital trying to take the kids away. So there's a clear pattern of behavior. Like there's always a pattern of behavior. There's a clear pattern of behavior and attack. But the reason why I don't think I think the numbers are a little bit skewed. You could be right about the decrease. Every factor that you gave is legit. Like I don't, you know what I'm saying?
I think it all factors in, and then when you see it, you remember census is done over 10 years. We've been doing the statistics that I laid out for the last 5 years. And so I think the trend is actually, it makes total sense, because they actually also said, by 2030, by around 2030, most likely 2030 to 2050, white folks will be a minority group here in America.
Well, and then that's also because they're also trying to make themselves a minority group as well. They're doing that strategically. But like the another thing is the large influx of immigrants. Even though those immigrants are Caucasian, the people who set up the government are very smart about how they try to divide people. So despite the fact that those people are Caucasian, they grouped them with immigrants in order to make it look like there's even more decrease in white people as a minority. Because what it is they're going to try to keep white people at like probably like 35 and 40%, where there can be just enough to still be in control of the country, but where they can also benefit from like the minority AAPI hate crime type things and all that kind of stuff.
Try to become a special class.
And then portray black people as doing violence against them, just like how they portray black people against against the Asians, so they can set black people up for the final solution that they're planning to. Because let's not get it twisted. There's a genocide agenda at play, and the United States they want to get all the black people rounded up, put us all in camps, get the kids, get the babies, you know what I'm saying, extract all the DNA, use it to try to make medicine like they did with that one lady, you know what I'm saying, like that. I mean, you can see it. There's a pattern of this stuff.
No, absolutely, and I understand. I agree with you on there being a pattern. I think there is a very clear showing of a pattern. But I just think that those numbers are right on schedule. I mean, the thing is if we really fucking put this out, out there, right? If we really go out there and we fucking do it and we do the math, I think it's right on along the lines. And I think they're trying to lower. I don't think they have any choice but to lower their group. But because they're not producing. They cannot produce offspring. I mean, like if you look at the fertility clinics, right? The highest percentage of people in fertility clinics is white folks by a very large margin.
I mean, like, it's crazy. Like, you got to be crazy hateful that because you see yourself not being able to produce children, you try to encourage a group of people that you hate to kill their children, and then turn around and try to say that it's us who's advocating for all of that, when it's Margaret Singer, who's a part of that community, who's the one who instilled all of that, you know what I'm saying, into the black community. Like, it's just really sick and twisted. And what's even more sick and twisted is how these people don't want to take any accountability for it. All you do is hear these people just blaring and yelling and crying and whining about how abortions and all of that is black people and Black Lives Matter and all this stuff. No, it's not. It's white Margaret Singer. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like,
and just to go on to that, because how you said, that try to paint black folks going against Asian folks. Right. I wanted to fucking play this. It's not a video, but I want you to see this article. Okay. And a lot of people are not catching on to it. And again, this is racist ass neck shark. Okay. And I don't care what nobody says. And listen, I got Asian friends and all that shit like that. But listen, I want everybody to understand that Neck Shark, which is a website, a news website for Asian folks, is one of the biggest media outlets that's literally going out of their way to demonize black folks. And what do I mean by that? Okay. This article right here is an article about a San Francisco man that was charged with 31 hate crimes over vandalism, burglary, and 20 Chinese-owned businesses. Okay? Now, do you notice something about this?
Yeah, I noticed that when black people damage inadequate objects that don't have a life, they get charged with a hate crime. But when white people actually gun down and kill Asian people, it's not a hate crime. I noticed that.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. Do you notice anything about this picture right here? Yeah, I know. I got two of his books. So yeah, I know who Ivan Van Sertima is. You don't notice it already?
Is that a slingshot that he has? Is that what I'm supposed to be noticing?
It's a slingshot. Okay, here's the thing. That guy is white.
Oh yeah, well, I figured he must have been not black if they didn't like have a close up of his damn face.
There you go, and that's what I wanted you to notice.
Yeah.
This is an article about that San Francisco guy. He's a white dude. Okay, he's a white dude. Now, whenever they have video of black folks, you know what I mean, doing all these supposed hate crimes, okay, They play the video, they have the video, they blast his picture, they show his picture everywhere. But look at this. Not a single video. This is stills from the video. They have video, but these are only stills from the video. And no picture at all. Oh, there's a video, but there's no picture at all of the white man.
Of course not. They can't prosecute their gods.
No picture of no white man at all. You see what I'm saying? This is a problem, people. This is a form of demonization of black folks. And I want you to understand this, because if you go off and you plaster the picture of black folks that you claim is hate guys, but then don't plaster the face of white people, and you're not talking about this very much, because basically, let's be honest about this shit. If this was a black dude, they would be plastering it everywhere.
Oh, they'd have had his whole family
for 3 days.
They'd have had his whole family.
Right. I went through, because I always go through Nextshark, and I had to find this shit. They tucked it in. They did an article and tucked it away. And this is a problem, people. I want y'all to pay attention to this. This is a problem. You cannot do this. This is how Asian folks is complicit in demonization of black folks, and this is why they are complicit in anti-black hate. So where's all the hubbub?
And they're on code. They already have. If you take a look at China, they already have a bunch of black people locked up in camps. They got a bunch of Nigerian college students locked up in camps in China. And China and Asia and all of those countries over there have a deep-rooted history of anti-black racism. So, you know, it's ridiculous. I was watching a video on YouTube. I forget who it was. They're talking about the migration patterns and gentrification and stuff like that going on in Texas, and about how the NAACP is trying to create some kind of nonsensical minority coalition with black people and Latinos, and like Latinos are the majority. There's more Latinos than white people there. You know what I'm saying? So let alone there's more Latinos than black people. They're not going to create there's no benefit for them to create any kind of coalition. But see, but black people, for whatever reason, always be trying to like co-opt and start these coalitions with other groups of people, when none of these other groups of people have any intention on doing anything positive for black people, except for telling them that you have to be a cookie cutter of us or else you're not acceptable socially. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right, absolutely. This video, for some odd reason, is not playing, so I apologize. But this is the type of shit that I be talking about, that I need people to pay attention to. Again, it goes right along with, you know, another story that just recently broke. Now, a lot of people don't know about this, or actually a lot of people are fucking, you know, talking, and they're kind of pissed off. And I understand why. How many people know who Aquafina is?
That's the water company, right?
No. Aquafina, the actress.
Oh, I don't know who the hell that is.
You don't know who Aquafina, the actress is? Mm-mm. Okay, well,
I know about the water.
This is Aquafina, the supposed rapper.
She's a rapper.
She is a rapper, okay? And she's like this comedian, rapper, person, whatever, okay? Now, her thing is she tries to always fucking talk with this black scent.
What is a black scent?
A black scent is the stereotypical, you know, stereotypical idea of how black folks talk, when we be like, yeah, bro, you know, that's what it is, cuz yo, you know, all that bullshit.
People should make this very clear. There's no such thing as a black scent, because any language that black people speak here in the United States is a deviation of the bastard language English, because no native black people anywhere ever spoke English until we came here and were forced to say it. So if people don't like the way we talk, you need to turn around and look at the white person next to you and ask, why do black people talk like that?
Right, and it's really not what it really is about, though, bro. Is they try to copy the vernacular,
right,
and they try to sound like we sound when we talk.
while they're racist as hell and hate us.
Right. Now, here's what's so funny. She said, and I want y'all to, she said she refuses to use Asian accents. She said the Asian American actress reportedly said that she refuses to audition for movies that make a minstrel out of her people.
So she'll minstrelize our people.
Right.
This bitch needs to get sued. The fuck? Who's giving her job?
This broad used that black scent in order to make a name for herself.
A culture vulture, just like Tom McDonald, Adam 22, all them motherfuckers, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
My question is, did she use that black scent to cuss out Tila Tequila for talking that dumbass shit she was talking about black people? Did she do that with the black scent?
I don't think so.
Now, this is the thing that's crazy, right? White people would turn around and say, oh, don't be so sensitive about that. Don't be so sensitive about that. But then if I was to, do my eyes a certain way and start bowing my head every 5 seconds when I'm talking, I would be them committed AAPI hate crime. How's that work?
Right.
How's that work, white people and Asians? Can y'all explain that to me?
Right. And so the thing is this is more demonization of black folks. And what it is it's using it's culture vulture, it's demonization, because again, she knows what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And so she is taking advantage of all these things. And the thing is a lot of people would be like, well, she's from New York. Yeah, she's from a white and Asian portion of New York.
Yeah.
She's not from like the hood. She's not like one of them motherfuckers that lived in any black projects or anything like that. This is a female who came up. She had reasonable amount of wealth and she took advantage of this, this shit. And she goes off and she literally, I don't know what happened to Rob. He'll be back pretty soon. She goes off and she, says, oh yeah, I'm not going to be a minstrel, of my people. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But then she does it with us. And this is the type of shit that I've been consistently saying over and over and over. We need to fucking stop this shit. This woman needs to be canceled. Fuck her. Let her keep on getting fucking jobs in her Asian movies and stop.
Let her talk like the white people that she worships.
Right. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, and I want people to fucking understand this shit.
I just don't understand the double standards. Like somebody listen to this video and be like, "Oh, you guys are hateful. You guys are racist." Like, nah, not really. Like, my thing is that if I behaved myself in a way where I like culturally appropriated some, things that white people do, in my opinion, like, like that's just kind of taboo. Like, I wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? And I expect other people to behave the way that they behave.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they behave appropriate to your culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's stupid. Like, don't come around me talking all that dumb shit, because for one, I don't talk like that. Like, you're like white society and Asian society and Arabs and Latinos and every other group of people has attempted to normalize that inarticulate and ignorant sounding black people is how, quote, black people talk. Neil deGrasse Tyson doesn't talk like that. You know what I'm saying? Ben Carson doesn't talk like that. So why is it that these other groups of people only for whatever reason see dumb black people and say this is how black people talk? That's the shit that Asians and white people do. So my question is, if I say something in response to that, like, yo, I don't talk like that, then I'm the one that's being a racist. That's what these these right and left wing dumbasses say.
Right. And that's a big old problem. And the fact of the matter is, what is black talk anyway?
What is it? Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like black folks speak in many different ways. Just
like black talk is white talk, unless you stray from the islands, or unless you stray from or from Africa. But even if you're from the islands, if you talk French or Spanish, that's still white people talk.
Right, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So we have to be able to, you know what I mean? Bill Cosby don't talk about like that. Wayne fucking don't make me smack a bitch. Fucking Brady don't talk like that.
Right.
There's a lot of black folks that speak with what would be considered proper English.
And what's crazy is that other black people, they propagate that as well. Candace Owens, she tries to sound like
Mhm.
she's educated and she tries to sound articulate,
Mhm.
but she literally will act like there's no black people that have educations other than
Except for
her.
her.
She's
Yeah.
the only person that can pronounce words properly. That's
Right.
not true, especially being a black woman, because like black women are graduating college at a super high rate. So there's a lot of more educated black women out there than there were before. So there's a lot being able to articulate and speak intelligently. So why is it okay? Why is it acceptable for these quote non-racist white people and non-racist quote Asians to sit up here and act like this nonsense is okay? What the Asian community needs to do is they need to check that lady. And like I said, as far as I'm concerned, if she's going to use that accent, the first person she should turn that accent towards and cuss out is Tila Tequila. But she's not going to do that because Tila Tequila is another Asian and she's benefiting off of what she calls black talk, getting paid off of black talk, where there's black people who actually don't have an education, who ain't making no money off of talking like that. They're literally making money off, they're literally talking like that because they're in the trenches, you know what I'm saying? And she's stealing what we do, getting paid off it to be a racist Asian, minstrelizing how poor black people talk.
Well, here's the thing, and Constance, don't get me wrong. I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to have to push back on that a little bit. You said the Chinese were minstrelized in the country. Bruce Lee spoke out on it, and absolutely he did. The problem is today they are not viewed in the same way as they were when Bruce Lee was alive. The fact of
Yeah,
the
that's true.
matter is they have transitioned from being, another minority group that's just trying to get equality to a group that stands in solidarity with white folks.
Yeah, they
And
submitted to the system of illegitimacy. That's the
right,
reason why we stay at the bottom, is because we don't submit to the system of illegitimacy. We
right,
don't we just don't take the dumb shit and we just say, nah, we're gonna just be us. And that's not good enough, because with the system of illegitimacy, they have to dominate. Like
right.
every time I look at a person that's Asian and they don't have an accent, I just think like, man, this shit is global. Like there's this Asian person that I'm looking at that's literally talking like a valley girl. Like that is insane to me.
Right.
There's something not natural about that. It's something not natural about just me. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something not natural about my first and last name, or something not natural about the way that I talk. You know what I'm saying? It's something not natural about me being not connected to like any of my culture. You know what I mean?
But let's just break this down a little bit, because we got to understand that they became the model minority, right?
Mhm.
And they took advantage of that stereotype of model minority. And so we have to understand that they pick their side, and their side is they're going to use all the same excuses, all the same destructive conversation about black folks as white folks. They're going to demonize black folks, and this is what they've done. They have literally became a protected status, a protected class, because of their demonization of black folks.
Yeah.
When black folks was robbing them or stealing their cars or taking their purses, they said those were hate crimes. They're not. They're
Right.
not hate crimes. They're crimes.
Man,
That's it.
there was a Asian teenagers in Colorado burned a Senegalese family of 5
Right.
alive, a white and a Asian teenager, and they didn't give them a hate crime for that.
No
They
hate
didn't.
crime.
They didn't give
Even though
Amber
he was
Geiger.
a hate crime. Yeah.
Yeah.
He even was like talking nigger this and nigger that, and they still didn't give him a hate crime.
Because when they call us nigger, you know what I'm saying, or when they use all their dog whistles like Dindu and low IQ and cuck and all of that dumb shit, we're well, don't be so emotional about it. But the minute you bring up some critical race theory, they turning all red and sweating and pissed off, hair matted to their face. Why are you so mad about that? You want to sit around and call everybody niggers and shit all the time? You know what I'm saying? So we bring up some actual real shit, and no, you just can't talk about this. But these are the same people that want to sit there and talk about everybody else is getting canceled while they're actually the ones canceling people. The same people that's going around crying about this cancel culture, their ancestors actually canceled cultures all over the world, and now they're trying to put in legislation to not talk about the history of the atrocities that they did.
Right, and that's white folks. That's white
You know what I'm
folks.
saying? But
You know
they the
what I
same
mean?
ones talk about cancel culture because they lose the Twitter account. Like,
Right.
fuck out of here.
Now-
Y'all canceled Martin Luther King and Malcolm X with bullets. When y'all start getting bullet cancellations, maybe I'll give a shit. Like
Now going back to the Asians, we have a long history of Asian folks literally taking black lives, and
Facts.
and justifying it and not having a problem with it and using these crimes as excuses to keep on committing crimes against us. Again, I've showed many times over. How many times have I showed it? I can show it to you guys again if you really want to. But the fact of the matter is Asian folks commit more hate crimes against black folks than black folks commit against Asian folks. Period. That's facts.
There was an Asian man who just recently, I think it was in Michigan, shot a 6-year-old black boy,
Right.
and they only gave him $50,000 bail.
Right. And then
You know what I'm saying?
they put him on up his bail a little bit more, and then fucking he still got the fuck out. The fact of the matter is he shot this kid for no reason, for literally being in front of his house.
But you got to understand too that like the mind state that most non-black people walk around with, especially if they've been acculturated to being in the United States, is they're looking at it like that Asian man was doing that black kid a favor by shooting him, because if he had killed him, at least he wouldn't have to grow up with a black family. As you can see, like the pattern with them taking all of these black kids from these people at the hospital and encouraging abortions. You know
right.
Like never forget.
Latasha Harlins, she was killed over a candy bar that they said that she was going to steal, but she had money in her fucking hand.
No, that was from the LA riots, right?
Right. And fucking not only that, but then she was found guilty of the crime, and then the judge turned around and said, well, she's been through enough already. We'll just put her on probation, and walked right out of there.
I mean, Amber Geiger's been through enough already. I mean, poor Amber, you know what I'm saying? She's got to do 10 years. You know
yeah, like the fuck out of here with that dumb shit. So again, if you are a part of the AAPI group and you're watching this and you're feeling a little bit, salty, how about this? Stop demonizing black folks and you won't be so fucking salty. How about that? That's number one.
I got a better idea. If you listening to us and you feel salty, why don't you go on YouTube and find an account called Black Truth Forever and watch the first 6 videos? Then you'll really feel salty. If you think we're bad.
You know what I mean? Because I'm not doing nothing but stating facts. And I can back everything I say up. And my biggest issue is not with the whole of the fucking Asian community. My biggest issue is with Neck Sharp. That's my biggest issue.
Well,
like this is a media site that literally puts out nothing but destructive shit about black folks in an effort to try to make it look like somehow, people are going around fucking racially fucking terrorizing Asians. And again, I'm not saying white folks ain't doing that shit, but black folks ain't doing that shit.
Well, and they get away with doing that because they've created this system of illegitimacy where white people get away with politicizing race. So you can literally just talk about the left, and other white people understand that as you talking about black people, when all black people aren't part of the left. Again, like we don't go by what your standards are. Like we don't care about your political systems. You know what I'm saying? Like we deal with things in terms of what works as far as policies and stuff like that for us. But you got to understand, when white people are communicating, if they're saying stuff like Antifa or BLM or the left or Marxist or any of those type of dog whistles, they're not talking about white members of that stuff. They're talking about black people. They start talking about critical race theory. They're talking about black people. They start talking about, quote, anti-white this and Marxist that. They're talking about black people.
Yeah. And let me go one more step. There's a guy by the name of Kenny Yu, I believe his name is. Kenny Yu, YU. Right?
Yeah, that's that idiot that got up there. I think it was on CBS and was talking about critical race theory as if his race was even involved, other than benefiting from the system of illegitimacy that created critical race theory.
He thinks he's debunked critical race theory, and he thinks that let me see, there it is. I found it. He thinks he's debunked it, and he uses stupid ass arguments to actually fucking make the argument. So real quick, I want to show you the type of anti black rhetoric that these people actually go off and do. And it's really, really important that y'all hear this shit. And this is why I always say immigrants are against fucking they are against hold on real quick. Oops. They are against fucking black folks getting any kind of reparations, even though there's been different Asian groups that were able to get reparations, and they didn't have a problem with that. So with that being said, let's real quick listen to this. This is Kenny Yu in a Fox News interview. Let me put this on the main screen real quick. Bang, bang. And you guys can hear him for yourself. And I want you to hear his arguments because they're the same thing as every other white person's arguments. Let's hear this.
Sandra, An Inconvenient Minority. That is the name of a new book by our next guest, and how author Kenny Xu refers to Asian Americans. As an Asian American himself, Xu explains how he's considered to be an inconvenient minority to the critical race theory narrative. Let's bring in author Kenny Xu. He's also the president of Color Us United. Kenny, great to see you today. You said it in an interview with FoxNews.com, Asian Americans prove that critical race theory is not true, cannot be true. Make that case.
Well, critical race theory asserts, and I talk about this in my book, An Inconvenient Minority, but critical race theory asserts that the world in America is divided into a racial caste system, whites on the top, blacks on the bottom, but they have no idea what to do with Asian Americans, because Asian Americans are a minority. You know, they have been discriminated against in this country, and yet they succeed and they achieve. And that I think inconveniences the critical race theory narrative today, and that's why I wrote this book.
You make the argument that if America is systemically racist, as
can you stop it for a second?
Race theory believe, how is it that?
Okay, so let's start there. Let's break this down as he comes with invalid points. The first point, all right, Asian people came here because they couldn't hack it in Asia. First and foremost. So you were dealing with your own either critical government theory or critical communist theory or whatever was going on in Asia that caused you to not be able to hack it in your own country and come to the United States. First and foremost. Second of all, the United States is always advertised in a way to make it favorable for immigrants to come here because of black people that they can build their economy off of, which Asians do in a serial way. Asians come to the United States, set up shop in the hood, make money, and then practice anti-black racism. You know what I'm saying? Third, Asian people are still connected to their continent. They're still connected to their culture. The United States did not disconnect Asian people. Mexicans, Asians, Irish, all of these other groups in the United States who had light discrimination, who faced light racism, they faced light racism for the reason that they were still in a certain place in that racial caste system. They still had privileges that black people did not have, despite the fact that they were segregated against and not able to do things. And again, third, they all have a continent or a country that they can go back to. Black people don't have that. We don't have any kind of cultural tie. We don't have anywhere that we can go. The United States destroyed that for us. We have a completely different cultural experience here in the United States than Asian people. And it doesn't matter if a white man or an Asian man, who are supposed to allegedly be 1 or 2 standard deviations higher intelligence than us because of their own racist science, while they're talking about critical race theory that applies to laws, that they can't even acknowledge their own science that they created that says that. If they don't have that kind of competence to be able to comprehend any of that, it's not black people's jobs to explain that. And the only thing that we need to do is look at these clowns, laugh at them, and continue to do what we're doing to try to improve our stance and figure out how to monopolize political power and resources any way that we can, while this man on TV and this other man on TV are doing what's necessary, not only here in the United States, but in their countries, to suppress black populations. That's all that we can do.
Right. I do want to make sure that we emphasize the fact that the black experience in this country is absolutely unique. Okay.
Well, that's one of the reasons why they're trying to assign it to everybody else now. That's why they're trying to give it to LGBTQ. That's why they're trying to give it to Asian people.
And this is why we shouldn't identify as quote unquote minorities
or people of color. Fact.
Or POCs.
He's a POC. This guy on TV is a POC. He's a Caucasian that's not accepted as white. He's a POC. That's what people of color are. People of color are Caucasians, straight hair, less melanin than us, that white people don't accept as white people. That's what people of color are. They are not black.
Right. And with that clarification, Constance, I agree. So the thing is our unique experience when when they were out here working and making money, even if it was a little bit of money, we were still slaves. When they were building businesses in this country, we were still slaves. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
When
And
we
one of the
were
ways that they
slaves-
continue to build is to do exactly what you see right here, building a coalition with white men and Asian men to attempt to try to suppress and subjugate black men. That's how they built. They didn't build anything because they're not physically strong enough. You know what I'm saying? They had to manipulate other people to get us to try to build for them.
Right. Good evening. How you doing? So now we have this person who clearly doesn't understand CRT either, because there is CRT for AAPI.
Mm-hmm.
Little does he know, but
they fit into white supremacy.
Well, again, they claim it's different, but again, the CRT for AAPI is out there. And so the fact of the matter is when he sits here and he says all this shit, he doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about. He doesn't understand systematic racism. He doesn't understand what he's saying. And so what he's doing is he's trying to signal to white folks saying, look, I'm with you guys. Fuck those black people. I'm with you.
Right? And he's also saying, you know, because there's other people out there. There's Asian people that don't get down with this, you know, far right anti-black stuff. But he's also signaling to white people to let him know, hey, I'm not one of those Asians. I'm one of you guys. That's what he's saying.
Right. And so that's a dog whistle that you have to pay attention about. Let's finish this up real quick.
Asian Americans have flourished and in many cases overtaken whites in terms of level of education and socioeconomic status. So how is it that Asian Americans flourish in this country?
It has to do with culture. You know, Asian Americans study twice as many hours as the average American. Today, we always talk about the Tiger Mother. You know, that was Amy Chua's famous book. But it's not just Tiger Mother parenting. It's also strong two-parent family structures. It's a strong value on education. It's the love for hard work and for meritocracy. And that's at stake with critical race theory.
All right. I'm gonna stop it right here. What that was quite literally him saying
dog whistle.
Let me finish, bro. You keep on cutting. I know you got hella energy for some odd reason today.
I just got I'm like overcompensating because of this headache. I'm gonna mute my mic. Go ahead. My bad, bro.
Listen, what he's saying is our culture is better than their culture. Okay. Again, not taking into account what we have to deal with. Okay. And so we need to make sure that we actually address this. The fact of the matter is, again, going back to Asians in this country, again, they were able to keep their families together. They were able to fucking go to school and work fucking twice as hard and not have to worry about it. They had a whole network, a whole community of people that worked it. But every time we build a community, it gets destroyed in some way, one way or another. The fact of the matter is, when we talk about fucking IQ and, you know, schooling and shit like that, we know for a fact when young black boys and girls don't have to worry about food, don't have to worry about power and lights and bills and fucking where they're going to be living. When they are able to do that, they do just as well as any other group, if not better. So the fact of the matter is he's taking and he's dismissing the consistency of destroying the black community over and over and over again since fucking 1910. The destroying of black neighborhoods, black business, black economy, black everything. And he's acting as if, oh, well, we just do it better. No, you don't just do it better. You have a community. You have other groups. The fact, you know, and he wants to try to sling two-parent household because, again, you know, number one in single mothers, but again, not understanding the statistic, understanding that single motherhood in the black community doesn't mean that she's single or she's raising her child alone. There's a lot of two-parent households where they're just not married. They're not together. That's what single means. You're not married. That's it. That's it. It doesn't count on fucking the number of fucking how much time the father is actually with the child. It doesn't count if the father is actually living in the same household. It doesn't count anything. So again, all of these are dog whistles that white folks have used time and time and time and time again that have been debunked multiple times. And so let's continue real quick, unless you want to add something, because I know you like, yeah.
Is my mic loud?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Nah, my bad, bro. Yeah, nah. And then, well, I just find it interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the problem, and this is the problem why there's no black media, and this is why everybody gets on code when black people try to do something for themselves. See, this white man right here and this Asian man right here will sit there and point at the black community and say, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Soon as black people try to do something that's exclusively for black people to help uplift them, then they point their fingers and say, see how they're self-segregating,
Right. They're doing it to themselves.
They're doing it to themselves. This is where these people reveal that there's no IQ gap, because none of these people are very intelligent. And the thing is that is the most interesting is that if you, in succession, if you read the Moynihan report, if you read critical race theory, after you've read the Moynihan report and then read the bell curve actually substantiates the Moynihan report and critical race theory and makes even a stronger case for reparations, because the bell curve also says that the reason why there is a genetic component is because of long-standing suppression because of socioeconomic standings.
Now the thing is I want this to be very, very clear. We have to pay attention to all of these situations. We have to pay attention to all the things that he's saying, because what he's trying to imply is that black folks just are animals, just like white folks been telling us for a long time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're fucking animals, and we're not animals, and we cannot keep on allowing this kind of bullshit to happen. If he understood this, he would not be saying the things that he's saying. And we can point back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, Slocum, Texas. We can look at fucking Oscarville. We can look at Rosewood. We can look at fucking all of these different townships that black folks created, right? We created them. We built them. We financially backed them. We created financial foundations, and they were quite literally destroyed. The fact of the matter is Asian folks dealt with that, but they didn't deal with it as long as we have. And that's just the truth. It's not saying oppression Olympics. It's just ours was continuous and continuous all the way to today. Asian folks, that shit stopped. It stopped. And y'all don't have to deal with this shit as much as we do, except from white folks. And this is why I find it funny that Asians are trying to suck up to white folks, because white folks are literally using you Asian folks. Literally, you guys are tokens to white folks.
Yeah, that's why they make fun of you when they call you the model minority. They're not calling you that because of any amazing features or anything special. They're doing that because you literally submitted and modeled their system of white supremacy. Right. It's not because of test scores or you guys are just doing so good, because you're not. You can't just come to the United States and set up a business in Silicon Valley because white people will block you out. So let's come to reality. The reason why they call you the model minority is because you do a good job modeling their anti-black racism coming to black areas, utilizing everything that black people have, just like the Asian young lady that we saw on the screen who is the actress using the black accent to make all that money. That's why they're saying that.
And that's real shit, because at the end of the day, let's just be fucking honest about this shit. Even the Asian model minority myth is a fucking myth, because they take away, they know about the smaller groups like the Hmong group and motherfucking some of these smaller fucking Asian group, Hmong men and a few other groups, right? And the groups that have the most money, they prop up. Japanese, Chinese, and one other group. I can't remember what it is exactly, right? So they're using U.S. tokens and actually separating you guys, or lumping all Asians together when you shouldn't be lumping all Asians together. because not all Asians are the same. Not all Asians come from the same background. Not all Asians are fucking on the same level of doing shit. So again, they're fooling Asian folks just as much as they're fucking fooling themselves. So it is what it is. Tokenism in the Asian community. Here it is. Let's continue real quick.
Because critical race theory is anti-meritocratic. It believes that merit is racist. So if policy...
Absolutely not. That's a fucking just a bold-faced motherfucking lie. That clearly shows he has no idea what CRT is. Let's continue.
Like Harvard's discrimination against Asian Americans are allowed, guess who loses out?
Guess what? There is no Harvard discrimination for Asians. The biggest group of people in Harvard today, Harvard, Yale, and most of the Ivy League colleges is Asian people. What are you talking about? There is no discrimination fucking coming from these schools for them. But there is discrimination for black folks at these same schools. Fuck out of here. This guy's an idiot.
Well, it's the hardworking Asian Americans that work so hard to get their spot.
Which brings me to my next point, because we now see the emergence, Harvard
Can
and
you,
other
can you
places.
pause it for a
of
second?
Yeah.
Did you hear how he said how Asians work so hard to get their spot?
Right.
He's talking about in the butt crack of white supremacy. That's the spot that he's talking about. He's talking about white supremacy's G spot. And you know, if he wants to compete to be in that shitty crevice, you know, some people don't want to compete to be in that shitty crevice. Some people want a system of truth and justice. So that's one of the things that they don't go into in critical race theory, is how a lot of these other minority groups, they don't fight for truth and justice. They fight for their spot. And when they say their spot, they're talking about, he's actually talking about his spot in the social caste that he just said a couple sentences ago doesn't exist.
Right. And he wants his spot. That's what they're working so hard. They're working so hard to get their spot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess. He defeated his own argument. Let's continue.
To limit Asian American enrollment in some of these prestigious educational institutions.
And let me point out that the reason why they're limiting it is not because of anybody but white people. White people are petitioning to limit Asian folks, because again, even though y'all think you guys are working so hard, the fact of the matter is they're using you as a token.
Right.
It's not black people that's saying, oh, limit their spot. Limit their spot.
Working real hard, you know what I'm saying, selling weave and doing nails.
Right. Like, fuck out of here. Come on, man.
That would appear to be the very definition of systemic racism, to limit the number of people who can get in on a merit-based program.
Which backs up the case that fucking there is, first off, systemic racism, and fucking if that's what's going on with Asian folks, that means it's even bigger with black folks, because black folks have the hardest time trying to get into Ivy League schools out of all so-called minority groups. Facts. Go check it out.
Facts.
In order to keep up levels of enrollment of other people.
You know, I analyzed 90,000 pages of Harvard admissions data. And stretching back for 30 years, Asian Americans have been kept at a cap at admissions between 15 and 18% of the student body. That has only recently changed. And, you know, Harvard's own estimate said that if Asians were not discriminated against, they would be 43% of the student body. Now, people are saying, well, is that too many Asians? Well, I say, I'm indignant at that claim. I'm indignant at the claim that Asians are all the same kind of person, they're all the same kind of faceless, test-taking robot with no personality. We have to look past race in this country. And I wrote this book, hopefully, to heal America and to bring Americans together in service of meritocracy.
You wrote this book in order to fucking wave your white flag to white people so you can motherfucking kiss their ass.
Yep.
You wrote this to dog whistle to white people. I'm on your side. Look at these dirty animal fucking other groups, and look at us. We're so good.
Now I got a question. You brought up animals twice. If he brought those claims to a genealogist and they analyzed blood samples of each of the groups that he calls animals, do you think that the genealogist would agree with his assessment of who the animals are?
No,
I don't think so either.
no, absolutely not. I can back that up too. But anyway, let's finish this up because I'm about done hearing this fucking idiot.
I asked Vivek Ramaswamy this question yesterday, and let me ask you as well.
Yeah.
Have you personally experienced racism in this country, and what did you do to keep it in perspective?
Well,
you notice, I just want to point out, did you notice how he
took that deep breath?
He asked this question, and then, assuming the answer was yes, he asked the follow-up question for it. So let's listen to what his answer is going to be.
Well, and another thing, what I find funny is that this whole entire interview is racist towards this Asian dude, and the Asian dude doesn't even realize it.
Nope, he doesn't. He doesn't even realize it, which is fucking hilarious.
I have to say, America has been very good to me. Yes, I've experienced racism, especially, from the Ivy Leagues when they...
And that destroys your whole fucking point of this whole fucking interview. Fuck out of here, you ignorant piece of shit.
Judge Asian Americans as low personalities. That's what Harvard does. But you know what? America has been very good to me, and America has been good to every person in every of this country. One of the things in my book that I talk about is this guy named Bin Vo. He's a Vietnamese American. He came to this country from Vietnam, and he was the instant he landed here, a police officer picked him up and sent him home, and that was an act of charity that he could not find in his home country. That's the goodness of America, and I want to highlight that.
Interesting. Kenny Xu, the book is called An Inconvenient Minority. Thank you for joining us today. Good to see you. Appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian
All
Kilmeade.
right.
I want you to do me a
Sorry
favor.
about that.
I want you to click to...
All right. So that's Kenny Xu, okay? And that's what I was talking about earlier. And this kind of shit just really fucking needs to stop. What you got on this, bro?
I mean, the thing is it's not going to stop until black people create their own media and we can drown out the nonsense that white and Asian people say.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? As long as people are just doing small things, content with making super chats on YouTube, and we don't put into order any brick and mortar media or like any kind of like actual business holding and control the financial interest of it. Don't be a sellout like Jay-Z or Byron Scott. You know what I'm saying? As long as we actually control it and we can control the message and have some counter propaganda, then, it's just going to continue. And the thing is that people believe this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like these right-wing people, you know what I'm saying? These far-right people, they literally believe this stuff like it's fact. No, this dude just wrote a book from his opinion. There's nothing in there rooted in fact. He's talking about experiences that Asian people have had. But what he's not telling you is that he's writing this book to be anti-black, but the racism that he's describing is white racism against him. Those were white professors at Harvard that discriminated against you. Those were the secret societies, Skull and Bones, who discriminated against you. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nobody black in there that discriminated against you. There's what is that guy's name? The Harvard professor. He comes on the news sometimes. He just recently lost his tenure. He dealt with racism at Harvard. You know what I'm talking about? Old black dude. He got a big gray beard.
Cornel West.
Cornel West. Yeah, Cornel West wasn't up there discriminating against you. So again, this is the thing. White people and Asian people like to get up there and talk about discrimination that they faced, but it's always discrimination that they faced at the hands of whites and other Asians, because black people don't have institutions in order to discriminate against you. Even the Boule historical black colleges, they even still, they allow Asians, they allow white people. The enrollment for Asians and white people are up at historical black universities.
Colleges, yeah.
So the thing is that these white people and these Asian people get in front of a camera and start saying this nonsense, and then you have the January 6th crowd yelling and screaming and cheering and backing it up when they're not giving any kind of intimate detail to make a case. All these people ever do is talk about white racism that they faced and assign that white racism that they faced to other people who haven't done anything. You tell me one university that's fully black controlled that ever turned down any white or Asian person, and then I'll listen to this guy. But until somebody can show me an institution like that, and then when you compare it to an institution like Harvard or Yale that's historically done that to every non-white minority, I don't want to hear what this dude has to say until he can show me what I asked for.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. 100%. So, that's that. We need to stop this, and we need to make sure that we make sure our narrative is out there and we combat this AAPI this demonization, the AAPI demonization of black folks. And that's just what it is. Um, I took a aromatherapist and a lady from Vietnam. She said that the Chinese consider themselves white among, yeah, they do. And they go out of their way to get their eyes, lids, fucking like more rounded. They fucking lighten their skin color. They do a lot of different things. There's a lot of self-hate that's going on in Chinese communities, Chinese American communities, and some of the other ones too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And that's
absolutely.
and white scientists, again, white scientists that created the human racial categorization, the Caucasian, the Mongoloids, and the Negroid. Why do you think they're called Caucasians?
Mhm.
Because they're Asians that were originated in the Caucasus Mountains. So again, like these are a group of Asians, white people, you know what I'm saying, created their own categorization system to discriminate, but they still divvy out favors and favoritism to other Caucasian people.
It is what it is, man.
Yeah.
So lately there's been a slew, actually three. I'm calling three a slew. But there have been a lot of shit going on in the black community. Again, a little bit more demonization. And let me preface this by saying two of these cases I think are true. One of them I do not agree with. Okay. We heard about Bill Cosby. We know Bill Cosby just recently got out of prison, and they are now trying to charge him again. Okay. Um, Brother Polite has just been accused of raping a 12-year-old. And R. Kelly is currently going to fucking court right now. And he is fighting his sexual allegations. Now, I want to make sure y'all understand. I believe Polite is guilty based off of what we have so far because they have DNA and everything else like that. So send him away. I believe R. Kelly is guilty of the crimes. I just have issues with the whole R. Kelly situation, and I don't believe Bill Cosby is guilty. That I've fully explained that for a long time. Okay, so let's talk about R. Kelly. Okay, and here's the article that I want y'all to kind of pay attention to. This insider article says, here's the breakdown of allegations R. Kelly faces in his sex criminal trial from arguing a criminal enterprise to bribe an official to give Aaliyah a fake ID. Now, I think R. Kelly is probably guilty, most likely. I think there's probably enough evidence that says that he's guilty. My issue is that they're circumventing the law in order to convict R. Kelly when they don't do this type of shit for anybody else. They only do this shit for black folks. And that's where my problem comes. Again, so I'm not arguing this in the sense of he's innocent. Okay? I'm arguing in this off of the legality. And I think that's important. Okay? Because all of these things, they stem from all the way back in 1994. So from 1994 to 2019, whatever happened to statute of limitations? You're muted. Unmute yourself.
Oh no, I was just saying right. Go ahead, bro. I'm
I have
listening
an
to you.
issue with the statute of limitations situation because what they decided to do was, in order to circumvent these charges from 1994, they hit him with a RICO Act and they hit him with what is it called? They hit him with the Mann Act. Okay, Mann Act violations, which is federal law. Okay, and they did this in order so they can go all the way back and charge him. And here's the racketeering right here. While the usually this is done for mobsters and drug dealers and shit like that, right? They're saying R. Kelly is being accused of running a criminal enterprise consisting of his managers, bodyguards, drivers, and assistants, right? One thing that I'm noticing isn't being charged is the women who were of age who participated in the acts of these underage kids. They're not charging them. They're not charging them. They willingly participated. That's my first problem. But also, they're going to try to say that his managers, bodyguards, drivers, and assistants are all culpable in what he was doing. The fact of the matter is he told his drivers, go pick this person up. He told his bodyguards, go pick these people up. He told his managers, pay for this shit. He told his assistants, just pay for this plane trip. That don't mean that they knew anything. That don't mean that fucking, these motherfuckers was actively conspiring with R. Kelly to bring underage people to his house or anything else. They're reaching. They're circumventing laws in order for fucking them to get a conviction on R. Kelly. Okay? They say that alleged Kelly's employees identify women and girls to engage in illegal sex with the singer. When R. Kelly picked out someone in the concert that he wished to have sex with, people who worked for him would go and give the women or girl a wristband to the backstage. Again, they didn't conspire to look at this girl, she's young. That's not what they did. R. Kelly just told him, hey, go give them a backstage pass, go give them a backstage pass, go give them a backstage pass. That's not RICO. Okay? Court documents also fucking say that Enterprise would also arrange for the women to travel to see R. Kelly around the U.S. and took steps to ensure that the multiple women Kelly arranged to see didn't run into each other during the trips. Again, what they did is they made sure that they didn't fucking get caught up with each other. He said, pay for this ticket, pay for this ticket, pay for this ticket, and make sure that the times don't correlate. That's it. He didn't fucking say they didn't know they was young. Bribery. The racketeering allegation involves bribery stems from one of Kelly's more high-profile schemes, his marriage to the late singer Aaliyah. Prosecutions allege that on August 30th, 1994, R. Kelly and others bribed public officials in the Northern District of Illinois to cash to create fake IDs for an individual identified in the court documents as Jane Doe 1. Jane Doe 1 has been widely reported to have been Aaliyah, who married R. Kelly on the day after the bride was allegedly made. Again, first off, how are you going to prove that, number one, unless Aaliyah was right there? And then she would have to fucking do it. Then you would have to charge the guy who actually took the bribe. Then he would have to testify also. Now, is that going to be what happened? I don't see that shit happening, but okay. I don't know how you're going to do it. Aaliyah was 15 at the time, but marriage certificate had identified her as 18. Again, lots of girls go out and get fake IDs. If you think that women don't actively search for fake IDs, go to more fucking clubs and be a fucking bouncer at a club and you'll see that you're wrong. Okay? Aaliyah was introduced to R. Kelly by her uncle. and record producers. Record producer Barry Hakinson. When she was a child. She died in 2001 at 22 years old when her plane crashed shortly after taking off in the Bahamas. Okay? Kidnapping. Also part of the act of racketeering. R. Kelly is accused of kidnapping a woman identified in the court documents as Jane Doe number 3 in 2003 or 4. Prosecutors allege that this victim was used for sexual purposes and given controlled substances while being held against her will. Her claim. Sexual exploitation of a child. Prosecutors have accused Kelly of sexually exploiting 3 children while running the enterprise. Okay, prosecutors allege R. Kelly abused the first child, who was identified in the courtroom as Jane Doe number 2 in Illinois between May and October of 1999. They accuse R. Kelly and others of using the child to produce one or more visual depictions of illegal sexual conduct that was then mailed or transported between lines. Again, these are all the same charges that he's had before. And they were past the time of, it was long past the statute of limitation on all these charges. And this is why what they did is they used the Mann Act and the RICO Act in order to do that. Let me see. Forced labor. Prosecutors also accused R. Kelly of forced physical restraint and threats to pressure 3 of his sexual partners to work for him. Again, the indictment lists Jane Doe 4, 5, and 6 as the victims of forced labor. Again, forced labor being the sexual act. He gave him a job. That's what they're saying. He gave him a job and, he forced him to take the job. Mann's Act violation says allegations that Kelly and his team made travel arrangements for Jane Doe 3, 4, and 5, and 6 to cross state lines for sex and coerce them into having sex, which charged under the Mann Act criminalized the interstate transportation of women and girls for illegal sexual purposes. So that is the list. Now, again, I know people don't like a lot of my stances on this case, but I think it's very important to break this down. I am sorry for people that are going to get offended by this. And I'm not justifying it. But what I'm saying is it's not RICO. R. Kelly didn't force any of these girls to do anything. R. Kelly might have took advantage of his status to take advantage of these girls. But these girls wanted to go backstage. They wanted to hook up with R. Kelly. A lot of them did. Even when you watch Surviving R. Kelly, the girl who was 17 years old, and that's legal in Illinois, just to let you guys know, who talked all her shit, she openly admitted that at the time she wanted to fucking be with R. Kelly. Only today does she call it grooming. You see what I'm saying? Again, people have to understand that 16, 17-year-olds, they do these things. They have sex. Kids have sex as young as 13 years old. I know kids that have sex even younger. You know what I mean? Now, again, I'm not trying to justify it. What I'm saying is these charges do not line up. And my biggest point that I want to point out is that they are circumventing laws and throwing things in order to get a conviction for R. Kelly. Now, there's a problem with that. And the problem with that is that they can then change the laws for anyone. And that's bad news for Black folks across the country. Again, R. Kelly most likely did it. He had statutory rape with these girls, most likely. He did an illegal act. That's sexual fucking assault, statutory rape. I don't dispute that. But what they're doing is they're trying to circumvent laws in order to convict him. Okay? And that can end up being very, 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 very bad for black folks. I mean, it's going to be very bad for everybody, but primarily black folks. And again, they always try to do this type of shit on black folks. Now, it kind of goes back to what I talk about when I talk about police police brutality. Okay? So when police officers are able to get off for beating black folks, right? And they can get the support of white folks in the majority, and they can get a whole bunch of people to agree that, oh, that was legal, then what they're doing is they're opening the door and for their ability to be more aggressive with everyone across the board, which is dangerous for black folks because it gets black folks killed, but it's dangerous for everyone because now you're losing your rights. Okay? And it's force where they are, what tends to happen is now it's easier for them to convict you on crimes that you probably didn't fucking commit. And this is the problem. They're learning new ways to fucking literally prosecute folks. And you guys are standing here talking about, yeah, again, R. Kelly should have already been motherfucking convicted. But they fucked up their trial the first time. He got off. And now fucking y'all want to come back 20, 30 years later, and now you want to try this shit again. You see what I'm saying? This is 25 years later. There's a statute of limitations for a reason, people. And I need y'all to understand that shit. Now, if you really wanted to fucking make sure that sexual predators, which I am all for, get their just or get put in prisons, change the statute of limitations when it comes to sexual crimes. And I'm all for that. But as the law stands right now, this is disturbing because this is detrimental for primarily the black community because we're the ones that are charged and we're the one that has to deal with the judicial system the absolute most. And if they can turn this into a RICO Act, they can turn anything into a RICO Act. So I need people to pay attention to that. All right. But you know, he's probably going to go to jail for a long time. You got anything you want to fucking talk about on this before we get the fuck off of it?
No, no, I wasn't familiar with the R. Kelly situation. This is all new to me, so I'm just listening.
Right. So again, I want to make this very clear. I am not saying what R. Kelly did was legal, right, or anything. I'm not fucking saying that R. Kelly is innocent. I'm saying what they're doing is very suspect, and we need to pay attention to that. And we need to pay attention to these kind of things that they're doing. Okay?
You know what? Actually, I do want to say something about that. What I find interesting is how all of these white people cry about the Me Too movement, but you don't really see a lot of white men going to jail behind the Me Too movement. You hear white men as the loudest whining about the Me Too movement,
right?
But you don't see white men going to jail over the Me Too movement. What you see is black people getting Me Too'd and canceled. Right. You see you see the baby getting canceled. You see R. Kelly going to jail. Mike Tyson, this shit happened to him back in the day. Even racist ass you know what I'm saying? Black white supremacist Clarence Thomas had it happen to him, and he's so stupid. He's still part of the system, even though that shit happened to his dumb ass. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, this you literally see this happen to black men all the time. But for some reason, it's not black men that are complaining about it. It's white men that complain about it, but white men aren't facing the consequences of it. They're still trying to figure out ways through manipulating the Bill Cosby case to try to help Harvey Weinstein out of jail. So my question is, how does any of that work?
Yeah, because we are the people that they fucking go out of their way for this. Why haven't they charged Harvey Weinstein with a RICO Act?
Yeah, I mean, he's more
he's more dangerous.
Yeah,
because they still got a whole bunch of people that are coming out saying, dude, he did this shit to me. Why isn't Harvey Weinstein motherfucking getting charged with a RICO Act in sexual crimes?
Right. And the thing is like, you know, they're trying to part and piece and put together little scrap pieces to create some kind of business entity for R. Kelly when Harvey Weinstein owned everything. So he actually does have legitimate enterprises that were used for criminal activity. He legitimately has that. Like, you don't have to look in little corners and say, oh, you know, Leroy was the damn limo driver, so he got a tip from R. Kelly, so he was part of the enterprise. No, Harvey Weinstein has Harvey Weinstein LLPs and all of these different companies and different things like that. He owned the damn casting couch. Like, you don't have to look anywhere to find a RICO jurisdiction for him. You can use it simply off the fact that he had so much influence in Hollywood.
Absolutely.
R. Kelly didn't have that.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. I agree with you. So those are the little quick stories that we were talking about today. Last thing I want to talk about is what's better for the black community, atheism or theism? Okay. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, were you asking, or were you gonna elaborate?
Well, I think I want to have a small little discussion about it. Okay. And I want to ask both of you, because just recently we had Sebastian Cole on the show, if you guys don't remember. They just had the debate between JJ, Jeremiah Judah, and Sebastian Cole. Me personally, I think Sebastian wrecked his ass. But I think the question and the conversation still needs to be had. Okay, because that devolved into what atheism is and if it's real or not real and all this other shit, which it shouldn't have. But
yeah,
so
I mean,
I want to stick to this conversation. What is better for the black community, atheism or theism? What do you think?
So here's the thing, right? That's actually, I'm sure most people, when they would answer this question, they would immediately answer one way or another. Mm-hmm. But there's actually a lot of factors that you have to look at in terms of in terms of that question, because again, we're not the same as everybody else. Mm-hmm. I don't see a problem with white people being Christian, because Christianity it promotes white supremacy. So I mean, it just makes sense for white people to be Christian. You know Absolutely. What I'm saying? Yeah. And like, you know, so it would be kind of crazy for me to say, hey, white person, you shouldn't be Christian. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I mean, if you know that's what you came over here with, that's the religion that you were practicing, whatever, that's what you should do. Because black people were forced into a religion in this country that promotes white supremacy. And then also, if we talk about Islam and Muslim beliefs, those beliefs also are anti-black and promote white supremacy as well. I think that the best, I think atheism should never be taken off the table as an option. Atheism should always be looked at, even if somebody doesn't remain an atheist, it should be looked at as a way where people can test whatever theology they're looking at and apply logical tests to it to see what actually makes sense, instead of just saying, well, you know, the devil made me do this, or, you know, I'm doing this because it says it in the Bible. No, atheism requires you to have some kind of tangible evidence to be able to prove whatever it is that you're saying. And I think that that's a good test for, you know, someone to have a sound base of whatever kind of belief system it is that they have. I think that choice is important, but understanding the choice is important. And I think, in my opinion, from my experience, like, you know, the conversations that we have and the things that I've learned about atheism, listening to you and Jacob and my own research, I think it's interesting how people who are religious never use atheist tests to apply to their religions.
Right. Keep on going. Keep on going.
No, I mean, like, that's really it. I think that it should be an option. I don't think that people should just shoot down somebody because they say I choose atheism. I mean, okay, so if you shoot somebody down because they chose atheism, then that means that you shouldn't choose to go to court. You should just choose to say, well, if the judge believes this with no evidence, then I'll just go with what the judge says.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, atheism, in my opinion, is the court of religions because, again, it's applying the tests of evidence. You know what I'm saying? So I find it interesting that these people who believe that you have to do this religion, but then they say that there's freedom. How can you say that? And those religions are tied to a criminal justice system that's evidence-based when none of those religions are evidence-based. They're belief and race-based, or their belief and faith-based. When atheism is evidence testing of whatever religion puts forward. I think that everybody should have to understand, at least if you're not going to practice atheism, which again, practicing atheism is only the expectation of evidence. You should at least be familiar with it. So when you're presented with something like Christianity, you can ask the appropriate questions without being scared that you're going to offend somebody. Because again, like, Christianity and white supremacy go hand in hand. And what you see in the United States is so many people, some black people will kill you over Christianity before they, will kill to stand up for themselves, which is insane to me.
Right.
I don't think that an atheist would necessarily have that same frame of thought, because atheism, it kind of deprograms you from just the whole drone hive mentality of religion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for me, let's look real quick. Let's look at this real quick, and I'm going to put this up for everybody, and we're going to do a little test. Okay, these are the 10 most religious states in the country. This first one, I don't think you can see it, but it's North Carolina. Okay, this first one is North Carolina. All right, that has a very high number of black folks. You know what I mean? In there, that's a high number. Next is Oklahoma. A lot of white folks in Oklahoma, but it's tied. And it's tied with Georgia. Georgia has one of the highest population of black folks in the country. Okay? West Virginia, South Carolina, Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama. Alabama and Mississippi are tied for the most religious in the country. The common thing with a lot of those states are there's a lot of black folks in all of them except for Oklahoma. There's a very high number of black folks. Now, the next question I ask is real simple, right? It's super simple. And that question is then, what are the poorest states?
Let me guess, all of those states with religion.
Yeah.
Because God's going to make the money fall out of the sky. So they're perfectly okay with being broke as fuck. Right. And also, I want to make notice that those states were also southern states where that Christianity was literally beat into those black people.
Right. The poorest states in America, right? I'm going to show it to y'all. Watch this. I want y'all to pay attention to this because I think this matters.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really does fucking matter.
Absolutely.
Right? Mississippi, number 1. Louisiana, number 2. 3, New Mexico. 4, Kentucky. 5, Arkansas. 6, West Virginia. 7, Alabama. 8, Oklahoma. 9, Tennessee. 10, South Carolina. 11, North Carolina. 12, Texas. 13, Arizona. 14, Georgia. 15, Ohio. Okay? Those are the poor. Those are the poorest states in the fucking union.
I can, being from Ohio, I can tell you everybody around this motherfucker praying for some money to come from somewhere. Half these people around here spend their whole damn paycheck on pick 3, pick 4, and Mega Millions tickets because everybody broke. So
right.
yeah.
So if you just look at those two factors, what is that telling you? Religion ain't doing too hot for motherfucking these states.
No, it is. I think it is. Religion is stabilizing those states because if those people didn't have a God or some kind of mysterious, like you and Jacob say, Sky Daddy, to think that is going to take care of them, despite living in just being broke, not having everyday stuff that they need, they think that at some point some magic mystical force is going to come and save them. That stabilizes them from flipping out and going insane and completely destabilizing the civilization structures around there.
And
Religion is a form of control.
I would slightly disagree. I think what it does, I think religion does stabilize them in a different sense.
That's what I'm saying.
In a different sense though.
Oh, in a different sense.
Yeah, in a different sense. In the sense of they always resort to God.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
What I mean, because if they didn't have religion, I think they would fucking actually start doing better as a state. I don't think they would flip out. I don't think people would flip out. I think there would be more people that are actually fucking trying to create business and they would fucking not leave it in the hands of God.
Yeah, I think so. I think that would happen if they had never been introduced to religion. But I think since they've been introduced to religion, if there was suddenly a shift away from it, I think that at first there would be a period of chaos. They wouldn't know what to do. And then after they've destroyed everything, then they'd realize nothing is coming and build everything back up.
Well, that, and then the second point is religion kept white people in control, just like Candace just said. You see what I'm saying? And so when you have that control based on religion, right? Then it's okay to subjugate black folks and everybody else. You see what I'm saying?
Who made the laws for slavery and all that stuff in the 1500s? Wasn't it a church?
It was a pastor. It was pastors. Yeah, it was a whole bunch of pastors. So, you know, that's what they even had the Negro Bible, right? That they literally fucking sliced up to promote the subjection of black folks.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So I think it's really, really important. So me, in my personal opinion, I think atheism would be a whole lot better for black folks than motherfucking theism. Theism is problematic in many different ways.
Especially here in America, because of our unique cultural, in my opinion, because of our unique cultural experience here, religion is absolutely toxic. There's no possible way religion could be better for black people than atheism. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Because again, religion for black people is self-hate, is white supremacy.
Right. And when you go with this idea of religion, what you're doing is you're taking away everything from yourself, the work that you put in, the hard work you put in, because you're always giving everything to God, right? There's God that you don't even know if they exist, right? And so the thing is, and everybody knows I'm a fucking atheist, like, you know, through and through, okay? So it says, let me read this real quick. It says, why do white people feel the need to spread Christianity around the world except to create the power structures where white people dominate the world? And that's really it. You see what I'm saying? That's really all they did. That's the reason why they did it.
And that's actually a question to ask like white people, because you're with that comment, like you're asking us who've actually been like the victims of that and fighting against it. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
right. That's absolutely facts. So the thing is, you know, during this debate, one thing that JJ had brought up is that there's high numbers of suicide within the atheist community, Okay. And I have to give it to him because there is high numbers of suicide in the atheist community. But it's because of the demonization of atheists. Okay. Now, anybody that knows, I'm kind of more lucky than a lot of atheists that I know, especially black atheists that I know. I'm a little bit more lucky. My mom demonized me, and she's a Bible thumper, right? But my dad, the pastor, actually accepted me. You see what I'm saying? And we had lots and lots of conversations about atheism, right? So I was lucky because I still had a parent that accepted me for who I was, right? So that was awesome for me. But in a lot of cases, when you have, folks that get into atheism, they become demonized and they are kicked out of the social network of the group. And one of the highest reasons of suicide in this country is because loneliness and people being ostracized and demonized for a lot of different bullshit reasons. And so because of that, they become depressed, and then yeah, you know what I mean? And shining light. For a long time, I've been doing this shit. You know what I mean? So and so what happens is you tend to get depressed, and depression leads to suicide, right? And so I think it was a good point, but I think he didn't understand what he was saying because he actually countered his own point, because he did acknowledge the fact that atheists are demonized and ostracized from the community. When and it's really funny because I actually fucking, when I talk to females and shit, because, I'm a single dude, right? A lot of times when they find out I'm atheist, females don't want to talk to me no more. Because they're Christian or they believe in a God in one way or another, right? And they think that, I'm a demon or some shit. You know what I mean? I've been called Satanist a whole bunch of times.
But
I mean?
But I'm not.
No, go ahead.
Nah, I was just about to say, like, okay, I just find that funny. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because like, what justification would a woman have to not talk to a man because they're atheists when women are out here sinning at just as high of a rate as men? You know what I mean? Like, you're out here having premarital sex and all this other stuff that religion doesn't promote. But then in a conversation, you want to try to use that as one of your qualifiers to be with you. Like, man, miss me with that stuff. I wish a woman would say some dumb shit like that to me. Like, okay, well, you don't sound like you're making too much sense. But then again, like that kind of goes hand in hand with,
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So there's that.
There's always that. We have knowledge from our ancestors through our DNA. We inherit memory, which is where our intelligence comes from. Left on our own, we can discover the truth. Yeah, I do believe that too.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The sinners fear atheism most because they lose their path to redemption. I actually don't. I think it's more of a narcissistic reason why people fear atheism. This is just my personal opinion. I believe it's a narcissistic, egomaniacal ideal of self that people have. They believe that they deserve to have this thing that they consider everlasting life. They believe that they deserve to be in this place called heaven. They believe that they deserve these things. And that's narcissism. You think that you're special enough, that you deserve to live an everlasting life in fucking a place called heaven with this fucking person named God that you fucking believe in.
See, like that right there is programming and manipulation of the human psyche. Because in my daily life, I don't go around thinking about eternal life. I go around thinking about what I got to do right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do I need to do? How do I need to make ends meet? How do I feed my family? How do I do this? How do I do that? I mean, like, I don't, there's nothing guaranteed. Like, you know what I'm saying? The only thing that's guaranteed is that you're going to die, and nobody's ever been back from death to tell anybody what goes on when you're dead. So that's out of your control. And I think that you're right about it having to do with a little bit of narcissism, because when it comes to narcissists like to be in control of everything.
Right.
And when you're going into those realms of having to deal with after this phenomenon that we call life. It doesn't matter if you're white. It doesn't matter if you're black. It doesn't matter if you're Asian. It don't matter who you are. You have no control and no knowledge of what happens. You are literally walking into a realm of the unknown with no documented record of what anybody's going to do. It's all theoretical. And that terrifies people. Me personally, I could care less, but it terrifies a lot of people. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And the thing is what's so funny is you can get an example of that when you talk to theists, right? And they say, oh, well, you don't know if there's a God or not. I know there's a God. That's control. That's their need to control a narrative. That
what
right
I
there
know
will tell you And it's like, I'm like, yeah, but you don't know that.
Right. And again, like that's just more again, like I hate to bring it back to racism, but all that is I'm white and I say so. Like I say that there's a God. Like I say that what's most important for me is to use my time. Like in my opinion, right, on the list of resources, I always say this in all of my content. Time and life are the two most undervalued, unappreciated, and underutilized resources. Most people spend all of their time wasting their life. And that's literally all, like when it comes to the bare basis of everything, that's literally all that we have. So why are you wasting what are you going to do with eternal life if you're wasting your life here?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're not even optimizing your life here. So why do you think like what are you even going to do with an eternal life? And then the thing is that if there is eternal life, don't you think that it's naturally efficient, just like everything else? If you're not optimizing your time here and an afterlife is somehow part of the natural order of things or the natural matrix of the universe or whatever, you don't think that nature is going to filter you out? Like if you're not efficiently optimizing here, it's evolution, but like on a metaphysical level, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if that makes any sense.
It makes sense if you believe in that shit. I don't, because I believe fucking, your life is done. Your life is done.
Right. Like that's what I'm saying. That's why it's most important to use your time that you have here. Because even if you go as far as
that we have, it's more precious than money, gold, diamonds. Time is the most precious thing that we have available to us.
Exactly. But most people waste their time. So this is what I'm saying. Knowing how efficient nature is, right? Like nature wastes nothing. Like anything that naturally occurs is like naturally efficient. The universe is naturally efficient. Like it works like a perfectly engineered machine. So don't you think that if we're living in nature and nature has taken account of itself to the point where it can organize our DNA to be able to live in an environment, it's also somehow has some kind of mechanism where it's keeping track of how we optimize our life. And if there is something afterwards, you're only going to get what you get from your life. Even if there is something, your afterlife is going to be based on how you utilize your life here. Just like how nature works with everything. Like your pulse ox is how you utilize oxygen. You know what I'm saying? You're bleeding based on if you have skin integrity or not. So if you're not, if nature sees you not doing what you need to be doing in life, it's just like any law of nature. What is not used is going to be destroyed and redistributed and used for something else where it has a good purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, absolutely. So, I mean, do you find any reason? Because unless you can show me personally a person who literally did nothing and then did nothing but pray and got a job, a car, a house, you know what I mean?
No.
And unless you can show me that, I have no reason to believe theistic belief systems help me in any way.
Yeah, I don't know how they could help you do anything except for put extra stress on you and give you unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, I've never seen that happen. I've never seen someone say, you know what, I'm going to pray, but I'm not going to turn in any applications for a job. I'm going to pray, but I'm not going to fucking go and have a down payment for a car. I'm going to pray, but I'm not going to motherfucking save up money and get a good credit score in order to get a house.
Right. And like I've always said this, and people kind of look at me sideways when I say it, but there's a thin line between prayer and the devil made me do it. Like, in my opinion,
yeah, there's a thin line between that.
There's no difference to me. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand how people on one hand can say like pray to God, and then on the other hand you say the devil made me do it is bad. Like, what you're basically saying is that you have no control over anything.
Right.
In either situation. Like, so what's the point of you living? Like, so again, if there's no point of you living, then what's your problem with atheists? Because atheists say there's nothing after death. So like these people come up with like their own like nonsensical circular arguments that debunk themselves.
Well, what I've noticed is I noticed that there is actually a lot of people who love to make excuses, right? But they haven't really read the Bible. Now, let's just be real
Facts.
about this shit.
That's facts.
The Bible tells you everything is predestined. The Bible says you have free will, I believe, once or twice in the Bible. It talks about predestination more than 16 times in the Bible.
Everything in the Bible is based off prophecy.
Right. So if everything is predestined, you think you have a purpose, but you are just doing exactly what you're supposed to do. That's not purpose.
You're doing what the Bible tells you to do. If the concept of free will never was introduced to anybody, would it matter? Would you even know if you had free will or not, or would you just go about your day?
I think at some point we would start talking about free will.
I don't know if it. I don't know if it would ever come. If it would ever come up.
I mean, the thing is I think it would, because I don't believe we have free will. Not total free will. We don't have.
Yeah, no, I agree.
We have the ability to make choices, but we don't have free will.
You ever seen like a statistical table where there's like a variance, like there's like two lines, and then like within those lines there's all these like little probabilities, but you can't go outside of the two lines? I think like that's like representative of our free will. Like we have an illusion of free will with like certain choices that can be made. Like you can kind of like navigate the, like there's only one path. Like you're gonna die. Like that's the end of the path. But from that point of death to T-1, there's like these little things that you can do that lead up to it. But ultimately, your beginning destination and your end destination is the same, and there's nothing you can do to change that. You know what I'm saying?
And I totally get that. But the thing is I don't believe that it should be called free will. Those are called choices.
Yeah. I agree. In business and statistics, they call that a decision tree. Absolutely.
Right.
You know
that's not free will. Free will means you can do whatever the fuck you want without worry of any kind of
free will. Free will means I have the desire to be on Mars in 2 seconds and I'll be right back.
Right. Or I'm going to fucking build a house right in the middle of the street and nobody can say nothing about it. You're going to have to make another road that goes around my house. Or I can kill you and there's no repercussions.
Or you'll just be fine after I kill you.
Right.
Yeah, no, that shit don't work. Or like, I'm going to go show everybody how strong I am. I'm just going to put my hands like this and let everybody use me for target practice. And then I'm going to go take a shower and be fine. Like, yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. Like we don't have free will. You know what I'm saying? I think free will, that concept was used to make people think that they're more powerful than they actually are. And then once they come up with that false reality of power, they can use that power to subjugate other people and say, well, based on who you are, you have free will based on what we allow. And that's how you get these levels of subjugation and social class. And again, how you get white supremacy working hand in hand with religion.
Right. Absolutely. And the thing is Constance said, free will is your choice of what decision, what you decide to do. And that's called choices. That's not free will. Because again, free will means that there's no repercussions. Free will, that is a main part of free will. Go look up free will. It's the ability to do whatever you want without repercussion. That's what it is. Yeah. And the thing is being able to make a decision is not free will. It's the ability to make a decision. It's choice.
The fact that you have a decision to make means that you're given multiple outcomes or you're given multiple choices, but you're only allowed to make choices within those options given.
Right. And we can only make choices based upon everybody else's choice. You got to understand that everybody else's choice determines your choice. Meaning, it's my choice if I smoke weed, right? But if I smoke weed, I could go to prison. Now, based upon everyone else saying, well, we think smoking weed should be made legal, then we legalize weed. Now I have the choice to smoke weed without repercussion. That would be free will. But the thing is we have rules and laws and things that are set up. So everything is based off of everything else that's already been chosen. We have literal no free will. We have the ability to make choices,
and your free will decreases this phenomenon of what we call free will, right? You know what I'm saying? The free will phenomenon, the quote choices within reason, even that loses its potency as you go down in the social status. Because like in that example that you just used about smoking weed, black people have been smoking weed and getting locked up for it for years. But as soon as white people want to say, oh yeah, you know, we want to smoke weed because it's good for all the pain that we have, all of a sudden it's legal. And like white people get prescriptions for it while black people are still doing like 25 years to life in jail. So that takes away. So because white people have a higher social status in life, they are given more free will. They can whine about marijuana and it be made legal. They can whine about alcohol and it be made legal. We can whine about this shit and we get put in jail.
Right. It doesn't fucking matter. So
again, go ahead.
Now you're talking about levels of free will again, which again ultimately is choices. It's not really this concept of free will like we would love to believe. And don't get me wrong, you know, I appreciate being able to make choices. I do. You know what I mean? But don't try to convince me that we have absolute free will, because we don't.
Right. And that appreciation of making choices, that can be demonstrated by that Asian man who was in that interview with that white dude from Fox. It's like, okay, if I submit to some of this subjugation, it'll allow me more choices. If I submit to being anti-black, I'll be able to make more choices in this society that we live in. So again, like the religious structure sets up the nonsensical illusion of free will, and free will goes hand in hand with social structure, which social structure is created by white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely. So I think, you know, a lot of these concepts are actually very problematic. And then we get to the morality of the Bible, right? And the morality of the Bible is one of my biggest problems with the idea of atheism or theism in the black community. Okay? Because when you go with theism, we have to talk about the morality choices that the Bible says are okay. Okay?
Right.
So you're able to rape as long as you wait 30 days before raping.
Yeah. Not R. Kelly, right?
Right, not R. Kelly, but
not Bill Cosby, right?
Huh. But
isn't that interesting? But that's what the Bible says.
Right. Another morality. Killing of children. Questionable morality. But the Bible says it's okay.
Yeah. The Bible's weaponized it.
Right. Slavery.
Yeah.
The Bible says it's okay.
And who is the people that always say that slavery was okay here in the United States? It's always the same people. Who is it?
Theists. It's theists and white people.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Well, slavery was okay. It's in the Bible. Everything's okay. It's in the Bible.
Right. You see? So then abortion. A lot of people don't realize it, but abortion was okayed in the Bible. If the man was doing it. Sexism, okayed in the Bible. You see? All of these things are okay in the Bible. Genocide. It's okay in the Bible.
Now, here's my thing that's crazy, right? Here in our religion, in our system, we have, in God we trust on the money. When you go to court, they make you put your hands on the Bible. But these same people over here who literally say, like, we watched that video about that critical race theory Karen, who said that she can't be part of critical race theory because of Christianity, which basically means I'm white and I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
So if that's the case, then and if your whiteness puts you at a higher social status, as evidenced by what's on the money as far as the Christian messages and putting your hand on the Bible, then why do those same people have such a problem with Sharia law? And it's one of the reasons why, bringing us back to the beginning, we were in Afghanistan.
Right. You know, to me, if you look at that subset of morals and ethics that's presented in the Bible, I think you actually come out to start having major problems. And I honestly believe that some of the first racism that you ever experienced was actually coming directly because of the Bible.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Without a doubt.
The first forms of racism came directly from the Bible. When God told the Israelites to kill these people.
Facts.
Or when God told fucking the Egyptians, or told the fucking Israelites, it's okay, your punishment is to be enslaved.
Or when God designated chosen people. God was the first racist.
Right.
Racism is you have chosen people.
Right. Yeah.
God wasn't a colorblind racist. So you mean to tell me these same white people can sit there and quote Martin Luther King and say, "Oh, it's about the character of your, the character of your person, not the color of your skin." But your God, literally in your Bible, sits there and says it has favoritism of favorite people, chosen people. Fuck out of here.
So and so the thing is what we know is that God directly told the Israelites to destroy the Ammonites and the fucking
the Canaanites and all them
and the motherfucking all those groups.
Yeah.
Okay, he told them wipe them out,
and then he helped with floods and killing off firstborn in Egypt and different shit like that.
This is the King James Christian God. He said literally wipe them out all the way down to the fucking animal.
And they've been doing it, and they've been doing it since.
Then again, he said, in one time, he said, wipe them all out, all the way to the babies, unless they are clean virgins. Then you can take them as sex slaves. In another one, he says, wipe them all out and keep the wives specifically. Literally.
You literally see that going on right now. Wipe them out. Wipe the babies out. They're literally telling people to go to abortion clinics and kill their babies. It's the same Christians who then turn around and act like they have a problem with it, while behind the scenes, they're telling people, go do this. Like Margaret Sanger, an agent. You know what I'm saying?
Constance, let me ask you something. Are you a believer? Because you're not going to like what I'm going to do in a minute. And I don't want to offend you, but I need you to understand that whoever is teaching you the Bible is teaching you wrong. And I don't mean to say that like to disrespect, but I'm going to need you to read that Bible again. God said it was okay for a man to fucking rape a woman as long as he fucking paid 50 shillings of motherfucking silver and married the woman he raped. Basically, torturing that woman for the rest of her life.
Right.
God said, if your son is not fucking listening and he's disobeying you, you take him out to the middle of the city and have the whole fucking city stone him to death. God said, if a man believes that his woman has been fucking cheating, then it is okay for him to take that wife to the fucking goddamn motherfucking pastor or priest of that town, force her to drink the bitter water, and if the baby survived, then it was a clean baby. But if the baby did not survive, then she cheated, and it was okay to kill her too. The Bible said because some kids called fucking Emmanuel or fucking what the fuck is his name?
Elijah.
Because some kids called Elijah Baldy. That he approved of the curse that Elijah put on them kids, and God literally possessed a she-bear and killed 42 of them motherfuckers. Killed 42 children because they called Elijah Baldy.
Remind me never to do that.
Wait a minute. Let me go even further. In Exodus, through Exodus 10 through motherfucking 20, he tells about the story of Moses going into fucking Egypt in order to free his people. Well, what you don't understand is when you read it, they first had a magic off. And Moses won. And the Egyptian god was like, nah, I'm still good. And Moses said, my God is going to drop some plagues on your fucking city if you don't release my people. After the very first plague, the Pharaoh was ready to release the slave. Y'all not understanding this. After the very first plague, Pharaoh was like, fuck this shit. Not even worth it. And he was about to let him go. But you know what God did? And it tells you right there in Exodus. And God and the Lord God hardened Pharaoh's heart. God took away Pharaoh's free will to harden his heart, to change his mind, so God can flex some more on Pharaoh. And he did that 9 more times. 9 more times, and at the end of that, he decided to kill all the pharaohs and all the people's firstborn.
As a human, looking at the actions of another alleged entity, how does that entity seem like it's an ally to humans? Does anybody ever ask that question?
Not believers, no.
See, like it's those kind of questions, these are the kind of questions that I used to get in trouble for. Like, so in the Garden of Eden, God wanted us to be dumb, but the snake told us how to be civilized and eat the fruit because, that would basically civilize us.
Right.
So again, like that shows right there that when it comes to that whole concept of God, it's all about maintaining control and keeping people stupid because it's evil. Somehow it's evil to eat from the tree of knowledge, which if we didn't eat from the tree of knowledge, we'd just be naked animals in the Garden of Eden, according to the Bible.
And let me point some things out real quick. Constance, let me make sure. I get your point of King James of England and blase. But you can read the Hebrew. And the Hebrew says the same thing. We cannot keep on fucking blowing this off to, it was King James and the Bible was fucking, mistranslated by fucking the people and, white people. No, it wasn't. Like, that is such a played out narrative. It's not even funny. And it's been disproven. The fact of the matter is this. First and foremost, let me make sure people understand something. If God wanted to make sure that the right if God is real, God's translation would not be fucked up. So therefore, you cannot say, well, fucking European white people fucking translated it wrong. They made mistakes. The fact of the matter is, now you're taking power away from God. Because if God, the creator of all things, the knower of all things, If you think that that man couldn't have made sure that they got the right translation, you are now taking away power from God. What was in that book was absolutely exactly what it says. Yeah, there are a few mistranslations, like homophobia was really pedophilia, and there were, things like that. But he was very clear about homosexuality also. He didn't like homosexuality, and he didn't like pedophilia. That's facts. Outside of a few words, the Bible is right. Sweetheart, I've been doing this for fucking 35 years. If you can prove me wrong, go ahead, try it. I actually debate with religious theist scholars, okay? And they don't disagree with me. Theist scholars who have knowledge of this shit. And this is an opinion. What I'm telling you is not opinion. What I'm telling you is literally biblical scholarship, ma'am. This isn't up for debate. You can sit here and, you know what I mean? Then if you think that shit, then that's on you because of your novice understanding. But I have scholarship in this. Okay? There's nothing that you'll be able to tell me unless you have gone to school for this and literally have scholarship in it. This is what I do, literally. I'm a history major. I went to seminary. I do this. This is what I do. I don't step out of my wheelhouse. You won't ever hear me sitting out here leading the conversation of crypto. You won't ever hear me leading a conversation about data collection or motherfucking shit like that. I stay in my wheelhouse, and my wheelhouse is theology. That is my first wheelhouse. So this is not up for opinion, ma'am. This is scholarly work here. Thank you. Now, we got another question from what is it? What is it called? Twitch. And thank you for joining us on Twitch. If God isn't real, should the question even matter if theism is better than atheism? Well, again, people are allowed to believe what they want. You understand? And so because the people have the ability to make a choice on whether they believe in a God or not, the question is absolutely relevant. And it's absolutely relevant when we're talking about the context for the Black community, because we're talking specifically about the Black community. Okay? And so because Black folks are some of the leads when it comes to religion, we have to pose the question. And the second part, you said, shouldn't people automatically go for atheism? Should they? I can't really answer that one. And the reason why I can't answer that one is, and I'm going to be completely 100% honest with you. You have to factor in the history of America, because I'm in America, and you have to factor in the ideals and the concepts of Christianity in America. And so because it was quite literally force-fed to Black folks in a lot of cases, and because it was, given to the people at large in America, what we have is by default, we have an idea of a God concept, and that God concept is based usually, not all the time, based majoritively in the Abrahamic belief system, which is Christianity. And we have to understand that especially in the black community, a lot of us as black folks, we were literally raised in the truth. And that is a form of indoctrination. So as a child, it is easier to accept the concept of a God. And that's been proven with science, with, the mental state of children. It's very easy to influence. So when you're influenced from the minute that you come out of your mama's womb, all the way to when you're in high school, the God concept is actually something that you don't get to choose, you're actually given. And a lot of people don't realize this. They think that they're making a choice. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of times what we're doing is we're making these hypotheses saying, well, I would have believed in God even if I didn't know about a God. Even if I didn't know a concept of a God, I would have believed in God anyway. But the thing is you don't know that for a fact. No, none of us do. I don't know what I would fucking believe if I never was taught Christianity or even a God concept. I don't think anybody could actually say that without being a little biased and proportionate to their beliefs at that time. So those are the two most honest answers I can give you. I hope those were your answers were your questions were answered. Izzy, what knowledge do you have? You have white supremacist which has impressed me not. Okay, I don't know what that's supposed to mean because you wrote that like you were writing in the Bible. Okay. So the fact of the matter is I'm talking about biblical. I'm talking about the morality of biblical, and I don't need to put it in the context of white supremacist theory. Okay. I don't need to. And I have it. The person that keeps on putting the two together is Rob. And Rob has valid points. I have given you literally an argument based off the tenets of theism and Abrahamic belief systems, literally based upon the Bible and the Bible itself. Okay? Strictly based off the Bible and the Bible itself. And you haven't had given any answers to combat anything that I said. You can't tell me I'm wrong because I can give you every single book, chapter, and verse that I'm talking about. And it's literally right there. And the only thing that you can say is King James mistranslated the Bible, when you can go find the Jewish Bible and translate it yourself. And you don't have to take my word for it.
Yeah.
But what will happen is the minute that you translate the Bible, which you won't translate the whole Bible, because the fact of the matter is you're not going to spend that kind of time on this shit, but I have. You're going to fucking translate the parts that you want to translate. Go ahead. Right? And you're going to do that shit. So the fact of the matter, I don't need a question. You have questioned me. I don't need to. I can read Hebrew and I fucking have all the translations for all the different types of Hebrew. Don't try me with this. I've been doing this for 35 years, sweetheart. You're a newbie. You are not on my level. And I apologize. Ma'am, I'm going to tell you right now. If you can put in here and tell me you put in 35 years of fucking theology work, then we'll test that. We'll put that to test right now. Tell me you got 35 years of fucking theology experience right now, and I'll test you. And I bet you ain't fucking gonna know half the shit that I'm talking about. You don't want to do this. I promise you don't want to do this. Okay? Okay. How many years of theology work do you have? How many years of theology do you have in this? How many? I'll wait. Again, answer the question. How many years of theology do you have? You don't get to turn around and ignore my question and ask your own question. How many years of theology do you have? I've already answered you. How many years do you have, ma'am? You're not going to ignore my question. This isn't how this goes. This isn't the Candace show or the Constant show. This is the Izzy show. You answer my questions. I don't answer yours. You thought the Bible was historical fact when it's not. It can be shown to be not historical fact. So that tells me right there, you don't have 35 years of theology experience. So how many years do you have studying the word? I will wait. And until you answer that, I'm going to answer. So it's kind of like believing in Santa. We know it's not real, but we play along. Basically, sir, from Twitch, yes, absolutely. It's the concept or the idea. I have at least 60. Wait a minute. You have 60 years of theology experience. And you said you thought the Bible was historically correct. That's a lie. We're done. I don't even have to have this conversation anymore. Actually, I do. I do run it. We're done with this because the fact of the matter is you're just giving some bullshit claim because you in your feelings right now. The fact of the matter is you can't disprove anything that I've said about the Bible. Nothing at all. And you haven't given an objection to anything that I've said because you don't know where to find it. You admitted earlier that you haven't even read the whole Bible, so you don't have 60 years. Yes, you did. Here, you want me to read the fucking quote that you gave? Here, let me read your quote. Literally, your quote. Let's see, where's it at? Boop, 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 boop. I thought the stories in the Bible was a history book. Wait a minute. I thought the stories in the Bible was a history book. Wait a minute. You think that the Bible was historically accurate? Historically accurate. I'm done. You've contradicted yourself because you're in your feelings. That's the bottom line. You don't know what you're talking about. Period. You have no idea what you're talking about. Period. If the Bible is historically accurate, where's Sodom and Gomorrah? Prove Sodom and Gomorrah. Prove Jesus. Tell me which Pharaoh they were talking about in the Bible. I'll wait. Answer those 3 questions. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. Answer those 3 questions. I'll wait. You know so much about the Bible? Scratch that. I won't even play the trick question on you for Sodom and Gomorrah because, yes, that's a trick question. Tell me where the true and original Israel is. I'll wait. I'll wait. Prove Jesus. Show me on the fucking, tell me on the fucking map where fucking true Israel is. I'll wait and prove Jesus ever existed. Yeah, again, Sodom and Gomorrah is not America. Try again. Try again. I'll wait. Try again. Wrong. Lord have mercy. We got a studying Hebrew Israelite in here. We have a study in Hebrew. You know how many times I've smashed Hebrew Israelites because y'all don't know shit about the Bible and you make shit up? This isn't even a joke at this point. The fact of the matter is America is not Sodom and Gomorrah, nor is it the new Egypt, nor is it the new paradise at all. At all. In no way, shape, or form. Here, I'll give you an easy one since you say you got 60 years in this. When was God supposed to come back? And everybody watch her even say, nobody shall know the time nor the day. Because the fact of the matter is, guess what? Jesus did tell you when God was going to come back. But you see, these things, people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about and step into a fucking river that they don't know how deep is, they can't answer. So far, you haven't answered a single question. You know why? Because you don't have the answers. But I do. I know the answer for every one of my fucking questions that I've given. And I can give you the biblical verses that matches up with them too. Oh, well? Oh, it was Jesus that was coming back? Again, wrong. Try again. Try again. This is how little your understanding of the Bible is. God is coming back. Who comes back before God is Jesus. Jesus comes back as a war first, then God. Again, when does God come back? I'll wait. And you're referring to Revelations. Try again. No, I've studied Islam. Judaism, Christianity, all Abrahamic belief systems. I've studied a little bit of Hinduism, a little bit of Buddhism. I've studied a little bit of, like kind of outside sources. But my main line of study is Abrahamic belief systems. Again, I'm asking you questions that you haven't answered. You haven't answered anything yet. And I'm still waiting for you to answer my questions. When you answer my questions, all of them, I'll give you every single answer you're looking for. I have no problem with it because I've done it before. And honestly, let me explain this. I've already given all these answers before, and I've proven them on my past shows. All you got to do is look at them. I've answered all of these questions. See, that's what's so funny about this whole thing. Had you been following me for a while, you would know that I've already answered all of this. You go on all my YouTubes, you find the right ones, you sit through them and listen to them. I've proven them all. Every single last one of them. Every single one of these motherfucking questions. For what God is coming. Okay, again, listen, Constance, you don't have nothing to speak to me about at all. You don't have nothing to speak to me about. Again, you have nothing to speak to me about at all. You're not answering anything, so I'm done. You know what I mean? Which one is the closest to reality? I don't think any of them come closest to reality. But if I was forced to choose one, Reality in what way? Explain what you mean in reality in what way? Like a scientific understanding, or are we talking a history of the world? Are we talking in the concepts that we know of today? Like, what do you mean exactly by in reality? Okay, what do you mean? First off, Constant, ain't nobody fucking riled up by you. You are just another one of these people that have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. You clearly haven't read the Bible. You clearly haven't done your due diligence. You clearly haven't taken the time out of your life to actually read fucking the actual Bible, read the Hebrew, read the Greek. You haven't done it clearly. I have no reason to be hysterical. I'm showing you know nothing about what you're talking about, and you should not be trusted by speaking about the word at all in any way, shape, or form. And you've proved that to anyone that hasn't motherfucking, that watches this, that reads any of the comment. You have proven that to them. You haven't proven anything to me, ma'am. You've proven that you know nothing. Okay? These were softballs that I fucking threw you. Literally, anyone that's done due diligence in the Bible would be able to answer any of one of those questions that I asked, that I presented to you, without questioning back, without a problem, without making some broad statement at all. You have no idea of what the fuck you're talking about, period. And I don't have to prove that to anybody at all. I'm showing everybody. Now, I know they're not real, but which one makes more sense to you? Which one makes the most sense to me? None of them, bro. To be honest, none of them. And I couldn't, and I really couldn't fucking go off and say that any of them. I think if I was forced to, maybe strictly just the Quran, and that's it. Not the hadiths that go with the Quran, but strictly just the Quran. Maybe. That would probably be the answer that I would be able to give you, but I don't even like saying that, because none of them are based in reality, bro. And so because they're not, I don't want to tell anybody, oh, well, what's the best one? You know what I mean? Honestly, Taoism or Buddhism would probably be a little bit better of a fucking something to believe. But out of the three, they're all shit, bro. They're all garbage. They're all garbage. Their morality is all garbage in every single last one of them. Their ideals in every single last one of them are really super suspect. I mean, the problem with the religion itself is that they claim to be true stories and true prophecies, but yet none of them ever come true. And so because of that, you have to take away everything. Not only that, but the origin of us as human beings doesn't align. So when we're talking about Christianity and Judaism, the origin is just a bullshit origin that cannot be supported by absolutely anything, right? And so when we're talking about that, then we move on to the Quran. Quran, I think, in my opinion, the reason why I would have to answer that question of it is because the Quran tries its best to answer the questions. It gives caveats in which the Bible and the Torah do not give, and so I think it stands on a little bit better legging. But even that's problematic because it's not even the actual true Quran that it's supposed to be. The fact of the matter is they try to say that fucking the Quran has been the same since day one, from day one all the way to now, right? But we know that's not true, right? We know that's not true because of Uthman. We know that Uthman burned all the Qurans, and he gave you the one Quran that is actually used as the number one Quran today is actually Uthman's Quran, right? And so that would be problematic with that one. Plus, on top of that, the Quran and a few surahs are problematic in itself, right? So that's the best way that I can answer that question, but I think none of them are actually any good, right? And so So we're talking about something that just really can't be substantiated. You know what I mean? When we talk about the contradictions in the Bible, right? Like in the Torah, right? We can see in the Torah there's contradictions. God saw that what he made was perfect and it was good. But then he decided, not even what, 6 chapters later, he decided to destroy his own creation, right? And then from that destruction of his own creation, he decided to let the new people that he brought in be based upon a drunkard, right? So again, yeah, I guess, right? And then we talk about the lineage that comes from that drunkard, right? The lineage that comes from the drunkard is a lineage that's not even no good, right? Which is also where you also get the lineage of the so-called 12 tribes. But the fact of the matter is there's no proof of a Noah. There's no proof of an Abraham or Aaron or anybody else. There's no proof of not a single fucking, there's no proof of a single fucking disciple, and there's no proof of a fucking Jesus anywhere. Right? So the thing is when we look at these things, there's no actual, truth in any of this. But if we were going to use one, I would probably have to say the Quran. Even though that's a very shaky stance. That's a very shaky stance to me. So, I hope that gives you a fucking answer that is good for you. Because I don't want to, I don't, you know what I mean? And it came off even worse. Right. Absolutely. I agree. I'm an ex-Muslim atheist, and Islam didn't make any sense to me. I know a little bit about Christianity, and it came off even worse. It did. It did. So the thing is no, ma'am, my arrogance is not my downfall. Ma'am, I am willing to have conversations with scholars all the time. I debate them literally. I have real debates with these people. I have conversations, discourses. I have no problem with fucking discussing any of these things with anyone that knows the Bible. The problem is you view what I have as arrogance because you're naive and you have no idea of what you're talking about. And I'm calling you out on it. So therefore, what you're doing is calling me arrogant. Well, ma'am, I'm not arrogant. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's kind of like you not knowing, if you didn't know anything about fucking general relativity in physics or quantum mechanics, and you didn't know anything about it, but yet you started speaking on it. And then that person who studied it, teaches it, understands it, told you, no, you're wrong. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. And then you turn around and call him arrogant. No, ma'am, you're just a fucking novice, and you have no idea of what you're talking about. That's it. Facts. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Period. Okay? Because I have conversation with biblical theists all the time. And not one of them ever call me fucking, not, do they ever call me arrogant? You know why? Because I am not arrogant. I just don't speak to novices about the word. Period. That's what it is. Okay? Now, if you really want to fucking keep on going there, you know what I mean? Tell me something that I said wrong and prove it to me. Tell me one thing about any of the verses that I've spoke about, any of the stories that I've spoken about that I'm wrong about. I'll wait. And then prove me wrong. I'll wait. I'll wait. I have plenty of time for it. I have plenty of time. Tell me one thing that I got wrong. I'll wait. I'll wait. Actually, I have said something. I've actually told all the immoral fucking behavior of God according to the fucking Bible. I fucking actually broke down fucking the Bible. I've asked you questions that you haven't answered, but yet I have actually spoke out of the Bible and gave verses, books, chapters and verses. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. Oh, now we're talking about critical thinking. Okay. So now what? So everybody, I want you guys to pay attention to what she said. She said, I've read the verses. You've read the verses of the Bible, but you haven't used critical thinking. That was her comment. Critical thinking about what? What part of what verse did I not use critical thinking of? I'll wait. I'll wait. Was I not using critical thinking when fucking Elijah fucking cursed 42 kids and motherfucking God killed them with a she-bear? Did I not critically think that? Tell me how I was wrong. Tell me I was wrong. Tell me how I didn't critically think that. Tell me how I didn't critically think fucking God fucking hardening fucking Pharaoh's heart and killing the firstborn child after all the plagues. Tell me how I didn't critically think that. Tell me how I didn't critically think about God literally telling the Israelites to commit genocide on not one, but 5 different groups. Tell me how I didn't critically think how God said, keep the virgins on one situation of genocide and then look for the wives on another form of genocide. Tell me. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'm still waiting. Tell me how I didn't critically think about fucking Jesus already predicting when his father was going to come back. God. I'll wait. Tell me how I wasn't critical thinking any of these things. Again, tell me how I didn't do that. I'll wait. And if you can't answer this question, I'm done with you. And I will literally ignore all of critical thinking. Again, explain it. I'll wait. I'm still waiting. Still waiting. And I want all of you guys to recognize that she still hasn't answered a single question. She just keeps on making statements. You're not critically thinking. You're just reading. She won't answer any of these questions. You know why she won't answer the questions? Because she doesn't have the answer for that. She's just in her feelings and she can't answer these things. But again, I'll wait. Still waiting. Still waiting. I've said it very clearly. Jesus Christ himself said that God would come back. Again, I'm waiting. Still waiting. And people, this is what I'm talking about. This is why you don't fucking just entertain fucking This is why you don't entertain idiots. This is why, you know what I mean? Don't know if this is good time or not. Just got here. No, this is a great time because we have an idiot in the room trying to act like they fucking know something, but yet they refuse to answer any of the questions that I've posed here today. Any of them. Then when she claimed that I was not using a critical, thinking, I asked her how I wasn't using critical thinking on anything that I've said, and all she did was say, "You're not critically thinking." And that's it. Again, no actual answers. No nothing. She don't gotta limit what the fuck she's saying. I can read it all. You know what I mean? So I'm still waiting for any kind of answer about what I got wrong, number one, what I'm not critically thinking, two, and fucking how she has it understanding fucking, but yet she ain't got no theological experience whatsoever. All she does is listen to YouTube. No, you're not texting. You don't need, look, I'm talking to other people. I'm waiting for you to give an answer. Stop claiming that you're texting and then you erased everything you're texting just to write in the room. I'm texting, you're talking. You see what I'm saying? You see what she just did? She keeps on saying, I'm texting, but you're not texting the answer. That's what you're not doing. You're just texting. Yeah, I can see you're texting. You're texting, I'm texting. That's what you're texting, but you're not texting the answer. And you don't need to worry about what I'm saying right now. All you need to do is answer the question that you haven't answered yet for the last 25 minutes. We've been waiting for 25 minutes for a fucking answer. And here's her reply, everybody. This is her answer. Ego. Ego. She said, ego, I didn't say you had anything wrong. I said you were quoting. Again, tell me how I'm wrong. Tell me how I'm not critically thinking, and tell me how I have an ego when you can't rebut anything I'm saying. I'm waiting. And I'm not going to give you that much more time either. I'm still waiting. If you were calling in, I would have done hung up on your ass already. I've given you more time than I've given anyone, and you still haven't came up with a single answer for any of it. All you've said is I'm arrogant, I have an ego, and that's it. But you haven't rebuffed, refuted, or told me how I wasn't critical thinking in any way across the board. So you've made a lot of claims, but you can't back a single one of those claims up. Again, bang, this is simple shit. And you're repeating the same thing again. Tell me how what you would consider the interpretation is wrong, ma'am. You quoting from the Bible is what you're supposed to do, not interpret the Bible, ma'am. See, this is your problem, and this is your ego coming into play. And guess what your God told you to do? Be humble. This is what your God told you to do. Be humble. Okay? Your God told you to be humble. Actually, where was fucking Sodom and Gomorrah? Was it Iraq or Iran? Actually, there's 5 different possible locations for Sodom and Gomorrah, and they're in both Iraq and Iran. Try again. But you wouldn't know that. You know why? Because you think that they actually found it, but they didn't. Because again, you believe stupid fucking people on YouTube and you think that they fucking figured it out. There is not one single biblical scholar that will fucking say they have absolutely with certainty found Sodom and Gomorrah. Not one. Not one. There is not one fucking biblical scholar, true archaeological biblical scholar, that will tell anyone that they have absolutely with certainty found Sodom and Gomorrah. There are 5 possible locations, ma'am. And if you didn't know that, I don't know what else to tell you. Now, I've answered your questions. Why do I keep on answering her questions, but yet she hasn't answered a single one of mine? How is that? People, this is what I'm talking about. This is the fuckery of ignorant motherfuckers. All they can do is keep on questioning, but they can't answer anything. Yet I can back up what the fuck I'm saying. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? And so unless you're answering any of the questions that I've already posed that you haven't answered for 25 minutes, I'm done with you. And I won't be answering or even acknowledging any of your fucking statements at all for the rest of the night, unless they're answers to all of the questions that I have posed. Outside of that, no, you haven't. You haven't answered my question at all. So until you have done that, you won't get no reply out of me. So now that we're done with that idiot, okay? Now that we're done with that idiot shit, we can move on. And this is the problem with fucking dumbasses who have never actually read the Bible. Because all of my motherfucking statements and everything that I've said literally come directly from the Bible. Directly from the Torah. Directly from the Quran. But yet, we need to have critical thinking because the Bible needs critical thinking. See, that's ego. Ladies and gentlemen, let me explain to you guys what ego is. Ego is when you presume to know more than the Bible that was created by the God you supposedly fucking believe in. That's ego. That's narcissism. When you think that you have to interpret the words in the Bible, is ego and narcissism. When you fucking claim that you have to interpret the Bible, not only does it show that you've never read the Bible, but it also shows your narcissistic behaviors and your egomaniacal ways, your unwillingness to be humble. That's what that shows. Because the Bible was quite literally given to you by your God. Your God did not need your help interpreting the Bible. Anyone who makes the claim that God talks in fucking in all these riddles, no, he doesn't. And the only time God ever fucking talks fucking in these kind of ways, he literally tells you he's about to give you a prophecy or he's talking in this way. Literally. Everything else is supposed to be read and understood exactly for what it says. Literally, that's what the Bible says. And for people who believe in the Bible, who think with their audacity that their understanding of the Bible is better than the fucking Bible itself, you know that that's a problem. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're dealing with right now with this person who says you need to critically think because, you know, God was talking in parables, and God talks in parables, and Jesus talked in parables. No, he didn't. Jesus literally told you, I talk in parables when I want to talk in parables, when I'm trying to give examples. That's in fucking Matthew chapter 20. Go read it. Matthew chapter 20, Matthew chapter 17, Matthew chapter 23. Go read it for yourself. Oh, shit. God does not need to speak in parables. God never speaks in parables. He doesn't need to do that. He's never done that. Oh, shit. Oh. See, when you think you know more than your fucking religion, you think you know more than your fucking God who gave you the Bible that you fucking believe in, you're a fucking narcissist. You're a narcissist. That's what it is. No ifs, no ands, no buts. When you think that there needs to be critical thinking of the Bible in order for you to equate fucking Sodom and Gomorrah into today's world of fucking the United States being Sodom and Gomorrah, or when the Bible speaks about Egypt and going out of Egypt and the new Egypt is motherfucking America, you're wrong. You're wrong. There's no need for critical thinking because God tells you everything he wants to tell you in the Old Testament, the Torah, the New Testament, the Quran. Period. That's your problem. You think it needs critical thinking. You need it to need critical thinking. You know why you need it to need critical thinking? So you can equate it to your life today. So you can feel like it has some sort of a semblance of meaning in your life today when it doesn't. When it absolutely has no semblance to your life today. Zero, zip, nada. See, the fact of the matter is you think you need to use critical thinking because, critical thinking on the Bible, right? Why do I need critical thinking on the Bible? If God says if your son disobeys his parents, take him out to the middle of the fucking street and stone him to death, what do I need? What part of critical thinking do I need? Apparently, we all need to figure this out. We need to fucking critically think what God means. God told you what he meant. When God fucking curses the 42 kids for fucking calling Elijah a baldy, we don't need to critically think it. You know why? Because God saw it was wrong, and so he possessed a she-bear and killed 42 fucking kids. We don't need to critically think that. When God says fucking to Moses that fucking he's going to harden Pharaoh's heart, and he hardens Pharaoh's heart 9 times just so he can kill some kids, where's the critical thinking needed? There is not. See, these are all excuses in order for fucking the belief system to be relevant today. When I point out the fucking immorality. Hey, and honestly, check this out. Satira, if she doesn't answer my questions about, you know what I mean? If she doesn't answer my question and I asked her, what do I need to critically think about the Bible and the verses that I produce? If she doesn't motherfucking answer it, mute her ass. That we'll just settle it like that. Because at the end of the day, I'm done with you. I'm done. I don't play this shit. For the last 37 minutes, I've been waiting for you to answer any of my questions, and you have yet to answer any of them. Period. And I'm not going to repeat the questions. You've already gotten your opportunity. I've repeated the questions multiple times. We're not playing that. If you don't remember the questions, you can fucking, I don't know. Oh, well. Don't say a word unless if she says anything outside of answering my specific questions. Mute her ass, Shatira. Period. No ifs, no ands, no buts. It's just that simple. I've wasted too much time. I've wasted 37 minutes on your bullshit. Your bullshit answers that mean nothing. You're repeating the same thing over and over again, rewording a few extra words in there. Your understanding of the Bible is novice at best. And ma'am, you're not going to sit here and question when you can't even answer the questions that I've presented already. Period. I don't speak to motherfucking novices. I teach novices. Period. Shatira, mute her. I'm done. All right. Now, with that, since we're done with the novice, I teach novices. I don't debate novices. Okay? Again, I've already explained to you, go read the Hebrew. What part of that do you not understand? I said that almost an hour ago. I'm done with you. You're done. I'm done. That shit is fucking ignorance, dude. It's ignorance. This is the problem, people. You see, I'm willing to have a conversation with anyone if you can answer basic questions. Simple, basic questions. We were talking about the morality of the Bible. That's what we were talking about. That's where we were at. And you wanted to fight about the morality of the Bible. I'm not arguing about it because the morality of the Bible is written in the Bible. In the Hebrew, in the Greek, in the Latin, and in the English. Period. This isn't up for debate. Not at all. In any way, shape, or form. All right? So, now that we've gotten past that, now I'm going to get back to, you know what I mean? Now I'm going to get back to fucking the theistic theism or atheism. We're going to finish up with that. Okay? So, when we talk about what is best for the Black community, we have to take into account all the different things that the Bible literally tells you. And we have to match those up with our current life view. Okay. So when we're talking about, moralities, okay, we all have to understand that morality is not objective, but subjective, meaning it changes through time. And when we understand that, then what we can then do is we can understand that the Bible has objective laws. And so these laws do not stand up, okay? And we know that these laws do not stand up because of today, they're looked upon as being absolutely worthless. If we go to the 613 statutes, laws, and commandments, we can see that a large majority of those statutes, laws, and commandments are outdated and they mean absolutely nothing, and they do nothing to actually help or better off the life of any Black person in any community. When we break down the 10 commandments or even the moral idealism of the so-called God of the Abrahamic belief systems, what we see is that God himself doesn't hold any kind of moral standard at all. Okay? What God does is he tries to hold us to a moral standard that he understands we cannot even fucking do. He admits as much also in the Bible. Okay? He admits the fact that he has presented us with statutes, laws, and commandments that we cannot live up to. It is impossible. This is why fucking we deal with these problems. We deal with the we deal with the opposites when we talk about the Bible. The Bible actually goes against what it says. Okay, so when we talk about the Bible, one of the things that we know is that fucking when Eden came around, right? The first temptation was actually God created the very first temptation by putting the tree of life in there. Then what he said was, again, he said that we were perfect in his eyes. We were good in his eyes. What he created was awesome. Right? Then he decided to tempt us. Then he went against that, and then he fucking went off and he started a whole new fucking people. Okay? Now, what are some other things that actually contradict in the Bible? Well, from the First Testament, we are all born in sin. Every single last one of us, according to the Bible. We are all born in sin. Our flesh is sin. We know this from the Bible. The Bible tells us this. Okay? Why are we born of sin? Well, we are born in sin based upon the first original sin of Adam and Eve. That's why we are born of sin, because of the first sin, the original sin of Adam and Eve. Right? And so we have problems. And we have major problems when it comes to the New Testament of this. Right? And how do we have problems? Well, let's examine it. Well, in the Bible, it also says, one cannot die, or one cannot fucking, here, actually, I'm going to look it up real quick. I'm actually going to do it. All right. So, basically, he says, yeah, there it is, right here. Okay. It's in Ezekiel 18. That's what actually it says in a few other ones, but we'll start at Ezekiel 18. Ezekiel 18, the person who sins will die. The son will not bear the punishment for the father's iniquity, nor will the father bear the punishment for the son's iniquity. The righteous of the righteous will be upon himself. Basically, what he's telling you, the Bible is quite literally letting you know that you will be judged based on what you did. But that's in direct contradiction to the original sin narrative. Direct contradiction. Because if I, right, am the progenitor of Adam and Eve from way, way, way back then, right? And Adam and Eve both did the original sin, and they were kicked out of Eden. Then they had kids, right? Then they have kids. They were born of sin. Those children, Cain and Abel, were born of sin. Period. They came out their mama's twat of sin. Period. But what that literally is doing is they are now considered sinful when they're babies, before they were babies. You see what I'm saying? So that is in direct contradiction with this Bible. The fact of the matter is we are all descendants, according to the Bible, we are all descendants of Adam and Eve, and then motherfucking Noah. Okay? And the fact of the matter is, let's just break this shit the fuck down really fucking smooth. If we are all fucking progenitors of that original sin, then we are all paying for our great super great motherfucking, ultimate great grandfather and mother, Adam and Eve. Because we are all born of sin. So that's a contradiction. We are all actually paying for the original sin. None of us are born with a clean slate. The only religion that actually gives that a actual, contingent on that is the Quran. The Quran actually says you are innocent until you come of age, basically until you hit puberty. Once you hit puberty, then you can, sins actually count against you. Right? So that's the only one that actually makes that fucking delineage. Now, what it also says is no man can die for another man. So a man cannot die for his son, like the father cannot die for his son and actually take judgment for his son in order for his son to make it up to heaven. We know that for a fact too. But yet what fucking God did was he supposedly gave us Jesus to die for all of our sins. But did he really die for our sins? Well, if he actually died for our sins, the fact of the matter is we would not have to still hold faith, and we would just be sin. We would be clean. We would fucking actually be born clean. We would not be born of sin. But today we are actually still born of sin. So his sacrifice didn't actually clean anybody and didn't actually save anyone. Right? The fact of the matter is the Bible says that it cannot save anyone. By his own rule, unless you're going to say your God is a hypocrite, right? So these contradictions are actually very glaring, but it's not glaring in the aspect of if you read the whole Bible, because when you read the whole Bible, it shows that there is a different level. God has a different set of morals than us as humans. Humans don't have a moral system, and therefore we get our moral system from what God laid out. But yet God holds a different set of moral systems. So again, why is it that Black folks go out of their way to believe in this religion that doesn't have a good moral system? Now, if you wanted to go off of ancient texts, I would fucking say go off the 42 laws of Ma'at. I think the 42 laws of Ma'at would actually be a better system, a moral system that we could talk about, right? But according, when we talk about this Bible has no moral system. So how is that any good for Black folks that we live with today? Well, I'll explain why people think it is. It's because of the New Testament. In the New Testament, what you get is you get a story of Jesus and a lot of the things that he says, he forgives those and don't cast the first stone and things of that nature, right? And the thing is we have to understand that it's based off the narrative of this person that most likely didn't ever exist, right? It's based off of a caricature, right? And so what's the good and how does that help Black folks today if we're basing our moral standards on a caricature that, is problematic in itself, right? Now, atheism, on the other hand, is simply the denial of a God or gods, or denial of a claim of gods or gods, okay? And so when anything outside of that, what we call that is skepticism. And this is in a large part what atheists actually, subscribe to. It's called skepticism. And I personally think skepticism is a better way of looking at situations than what people would deem as atheism. Skepticism says, show me the evidence and then I'll believe you. Show me the evidence, back that up, and I will believe you, right? So it's kind of like this. If you say to me, jump off of Mount Everest, you'll be fine. And skepticism says, yeah, prove that I'll fucking be fine if I jumped off of Mount Everest. Okay? So, we got to understand how that shit works. We have to understand how what is skepticism and what is it for? And I would not actually say atheism per se is skepticism, and I want to put them in the same thing because atheism is not a religion or a belief set, or a belief system, I should say. It is a belief, but it is not a belief system, right? And so, I would ask, what exactly about atheism is wrong, right? Why would atheism be a bad way to look at things coming from the Black community? You know what I mean? I think it teaches you critical thinking, the thing that fucking, I'm supposed to look at when it comes to the Bible, apparently, critical thinking, but, no, I don't know. So the thing is what is the better way? What is better for the Black community? Atheism or theism? I would actually say that it was skepticism, but it would definitely not be theism. So by default, it would be atheism. But for me, skepticism is truly what they mean by what is better, atheism or theism. Skepticism is what's best for Black folks. Skepticism is what's going to help Black folks get out of the situations in which they're in. Skepticism is going to fucking help Black folks be able to stand up and do everything that they need to do and be able to critically think on a day-to-day basis. That is what's going to help the Black community. It is not going to be theistic beliefs and ideals where you're sitting around waiting for a God to come back or a Jesus to come back, and you're okay if if you happen to fucking God blessed me with this and God blessed me with that, because God didn't bless you with anything. Let's just be honest about it. The only way you can prove that God ever blessed you with anything is if you sat at home and did absolutely nothing and did nothing but pray. And then somebody magically got your phone number and magically fucking offered you a job and didn't know anything about you or your family or anything. And then somebody out of the clear blue sky gave you a brand new motherfucking car out of the clear blue sky, didn't fucking know you, didn't fucking know your family or anything. If somebody out of the clear blue sky gave you a motherfucking house, didn't know you, your family, didn't nobody pay for that motherfucker, you didn't apply for that motherfucker, you didn't apply for the fucking business loan or the motherfucking bank loan for that motherfucker or anything. That's the only way you can prove prayer works. That's it. I actually did a study one time that they prayed to to Fonzie, and they prayed to God. And then they had people who didn't pray at all. And do you know how many times the prayers were answered for fucking the theists and the fucking Fonzie prayers? Right around the same, right around 50%. Right around 50%. And that's with people that were actually still doing something, like filling out applications, going to the fucking jobs, going to the interviews, putting all the information on it so they can get in contact with you. They weren't even fucking being as strict as I am. And it was something like 43% that those things came true on both of them. Skepticism, they didn't fucking pray to anybody. So every time they went out and did something, most of the time, it was something like 60% of the time, it got done. Because they weren't praying to anybody. They just went out and did it. Right? So when people went out to fucking go and, get, so the thing is when we break this down, right, there's nothing beneficial that comes from theism except for maybe hope. Hope. But what is hope? And what is the reason for hope? Hope is a great thing if you're in a bad place. You know, hope is a good thing. Like if you hope that I can get a job. I hope I get this job. I hope they liked me at my interview. I hope they survive this or that. Right? I hope. That's all it's good for. Hope. And so if all of it, all theism is good for is hope, then what's the point of black folks in the black community staying so locked up with theism? Because hope is not going to bring black businesses to the community. Hope is not going to bring fucking economics or judicial justice or motherfucking educational justice or social justice. It's not going to bring any of those things to black people. What's going to bring those things to black people is action, working, getting the fuck up, understanding things that we talk about, speaking on them eloquently, and making sure that we can get those things passed. The action is what's going to get it done, not the hope. The action. Action has always been what's led this world in progression. Action has always been the thing that leads the world in progression. It's never been hope. It's never been motherfucking sitting around and praying. It's always been action. Demonstratively, it's always been proved to be action. So, in my opinion, I would say that theism is a waste of time for black folks in the black community, unless you want hope that you'll get off the dope. Outside of that, I don't know. Let me see. So, with that being said, I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. Again, the fact of the matter is I will not be debating biblical theology with novices. I do not debate with motherfuckers who make leaps when it comes to prophecies or the word of the Bible. If you can't convince me that you understand the history of the Bible, you cannot tell me anything about the Bible. If you can't prove to me that you've actually read the Bible fully and understand it, we can't have a conversation on it. I will only speak to those that understand what the fuck I'm talking about. The historicity of fucking the Bible, of Jesus, of fucking the history that we have and that we know. You know what I mean? I won't be debating the Bible with novices ever again. I will be cutting that off and ending that very quickly. And if you think that you understand and you want to have a conversation, I am more than willing to have this conversation. You're going to have to come up here. I'm not going to wait for you guys to type this shit out either. That's another thing I'm not going to be doing. If you disagree on something, you better be ready to come up or fully write it in the fucking room. If you're not willing to do that shit without fucking saying the same damn thing over and over, I'm just going to ignore you from now on. I don't have time for people and their bullshit novice opinions. Again, I don't go into fucking, computer science fucking places and act like I know everything about computer science. I don't. I don't go into quantum mechanics conversations and act like I know anything about that shit, because that's not my wheelhouse. I leave that to the people who studied it. Do I try to get a basic understanding of it? Yeah. But I am a layman. And from now on, I refuse to even have conversations with laymen when it comes to fucking any of the Abrahamic belief systems. You want to talk about spirituality? Okay, we can talk about spirituality. But I will not have dialogue with laymen's on biblical scholarship and theology. That's just not going to happen no more. Because I'm done with dealing with people who don't fucking read. I'm done with people who don't make real fucking arguments. Oh, you're not critically thinking about the Bible. Oh, well, it was written by King James. Yeah, okay, I guess. You know what I mean? And let me explain something to y'all. Hebrew Israelites believe King fucking James was fucking black. So making an argument that King James was from England and fucking he got it wrong, in certain circles don't fly. In other circles might fly. If you don't understand how the translation went from Hebrew to motherfucking Greek to motherfucking Latin to motherfucking to English, if you don't understand that shit, you know what I mean? If you don't understand that basic shit right there, and you don't know the history behind the definitions, and you don't understand how they came to that shit, if you haven't read all the books outside of the fucking Bible, meaning the Apocryphas and fucking the Gnostic books, if you ain't done this work, don't come talk to me. I don't care. I don't care about your opinion at all. Like, not even in the slightest. I'm not doing that shit. You know what I mean? It's old. It's getting old. It's getting old. It's getting old, people. I've done this shit for 7 years, and I have disproven damn near every single motherfucking person that I've ever gone against when it comes to knowledge of this Bible. There's only been a few people that's ever been able to even stand in the fucking ring with me. And I will be damned if I keep on battling novices. I'm not battling novices. Be somebody. Be somebody. Have understanding in the conversation. Have understanding of history. And if you ain't fucking spent no time in this and you ain't got no scholarship behind this shit, like, don't come talk to me. Leave me alone. I don't have nothing to say to you. I really don't. And so I will never be going back and forth for 37 minutes with anyone ever again if you don't have scholarship in what the fuck you're talking about. You know what I mean? Your layman understanding of the Bible is just that. Layman at best. With that being said, man, I think I am about done. I was waiting for Rob, but he had to go. So, with that being said, I think I will be closing up. I see better from YouTube. Awesome. Definitely fucking come back. Use the fucking YouTube anytime. I think everything is connected. But I'm not going to do that shit no more. You know what I mean? I'm really just not going to do that shit. Because I'm so sick of believers in this Bible always trying to come up with all these excuses to not directly answer questions. All these excuses for not being able to actually come up with cogent thoughts when it comes to this fucking religion shit. I'm over it. I'm tired of it. You know what I mean? It's old. It's played out. You know what I mean? I'm sick of the motherfuckers that are half-steppers. The people who fucking, they want to fucking argue for the Bible, but yet at the same time they want to act like, but I'm not a Christian. And I'm not a fucking none of that other stuff. I'm this, or I have a relationship. I'm not arguing y'all motherfuckers no more. All that shit is bullshit. Go deal with somebody that doesn't know anything, because that shit is bullshit. I'm not a Christian because Christianity is a religion, and I'm not in a religion. I have a personal relationship with God. If you say shit like that, don't come talk to me. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Because I'm gonna get in your ass and I'm gonna kick you out. I'm not doing that shit. You know what I mean? If you can't answer questions, right? If you can't answer questions that I pose to you, don't fucking get mad when I get in your ass. Don't get in your emo ass feelings. Don't keep on talking. Just shut up. Leave it alone. Because at the end of the day, what we saw tonight, and if you are on if you're on Haps and you watch this replay, watch the comments. And if you read her comments, she couldn't answer any of my questions. So what she decided to do was attack me. Oh, you're arrogant. You have an ego. Didn't answer directly my questions. That means you have no argument. That means you can't refute or rebuff or anything that I'm saying. When you try to say shit like, you need to use critical thinking. Critical thinking on what? Exactly. And then just say, well, you just need critical thinking. I need critical thinking? Why do you come to my show if I'm not using critical thinking? I'm an advocate for critical thinking. You just have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Critical thinking with the Bible? If anyone was using critical thinking when it came to the Bible, nobody would fucking believe in the Bible. Stop it. If anybody used critical thinking and then read the Bible and you still believe it, you're not using critical thinking. I'm sorry. That shit is absolutely absurd. So I won't be doing that no more. You know what I mean? You want to debate me? Put some money in my motherfucking pocket and we'll fucking debate. But I will not be having novice debate with people who don't study the Bible fucking and put in the work that I put in. Now, if you can fucking, make legitimate arguments, I will motherfucking have a conversation with you. If you can put forth legitimate arguments, we can have a conversation about this fully. But if all you do is try to question, talk shit, or talk and try to demean me, it means you have no knowledge in the book at all. And there's no reason to fucking even deal with you. If you can't put together a cogent statement, but keep on repeating the same thing over and over again without saying nothing, I'm good. All right? So we're not doing that shit no more. This will be the last time you ever see no shit like that. So for all the people who left and came and you know what I mean, and shit, or watching this at another time or watching this on the replay, I'm going to say I apologize for giving that person 37 minutes. I shouldn't have, but I did. But I did it to make a point. And that point is simply, you're just saying shit without saying nothing. You're not using critical thinking. Okay, what am I not using critical thinking about? Well, on the Bible. What part of the Bible? I brought up very specific parts of the Bible. What part? Oh, well, I can't give you that answer. All right. You're arrogant. No, I'm not arrogant. I'm confident. There's a difference. I know I don't fucking match up to a lot of biblical scholars out there, but you layman novices, you can't hold a candle to me. No. It's kind of like basketball. Are you confident that you know how to play basketball and you're really, really good? Or do you know you can play basketball and you're really, really good? And is that like narcissism? No. When you know you're good, period. You think Michael Jordan didn't know he was good? You think Kobe Bryant didn't know he was good? You think Shaq didn't know he was good? No. That's not ego. That's confidence. Confidence because you've done the due diligence. You've done the work. That's why I'm confident. I'm not confident because I just know everything. No, I told you, I could barely run a goddamn computer. But I'm not then going to go into fucking a conversation about computers and start telling people how to fucking code. That's what I'm not going to do. Even with the basic understanding of coding, I would not go into a room with a whole bunch of people who code all day, every day, and that's what they do. I would never go into their shit and fucking start saying, yeah, fucking that you're doing that wrong. Here, let me teach you how to fucking code. I would never do that. I would recognize that, okay, you know what? He's just posed a few things that I didn't even know about in the Bible. Let me just sit down, shut up, and listen. You know what I mean? Let me just shut up, sit down, and listen because maybe he can put me on to something that I didn't know before. Same how I would be if I went into a room of people that coded on their fucking computer. I would say, let me shut the fuck up over here. Let me listen. And I'll ask you a couple questions so I don't get lost. But I'm going to shut the fuck up. That's what I'm going to do. So it's not motherfucking ego, narcissism, arrogance. No, it's confidence because I've put in the work. And let me point something out. We all check this out. Have you ever, take into account what you do as a person. And this is what I want you guys to understand, right? Okay, let's say you're a carpenter or a builder, right? Or you know about engineering, or you know about science, right? Let's say you know about quantum mechanics, or you know about evolution, and these are your areas of study, right? When somebody comes into the conversation that you're having, and then they say something to you that you clearly know that's wrong, right? You're a carpenter, right? But they're talking about, bringing in a 3-foot board and then nailing it to another board when, you know the right way of actually, making sure that fucking board is solidified is at an angle. You have 2 angles and you put, right? And that's what it is, right? You're going to look at them and you're going to be like, yeah, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And you're going to know that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, right? When somebody fucking says, yeah, I know about quantum mechanics, but don't understand how, atoms just pop in and out of existence, right? And they don't know that shit, right? You're going to look at them and be like, yeah, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, right? When you talk to somebody fucking, when you know about evolution, right? And somebody fucking tries to break you off Darwinism, you know they clearly don't have no fucking idea of what they're talking about, right? It's no different for me. The minute you open your mouth on this fucking religion shit, you say the wrong shit, I know that you have no idea what the fuck you're even talking about. Just that simple. That's not arrogance. It's not ego. That's 35 years of fucking studying this shit. Dedicated to studying this shit. So, I don't want to fucking hear people and their conspiracy theories. I don't want to fucking hear the bullshit with your Hebrew belief systems. I don't give a shit. I really don't. I don't. I've gone through all that shit. I don't care. You know what I mean? So we're not going to be doing that shit no more. Politics and religion, you did well, so don't stress. In fact, very well from the short time that I have been here in the background. You are good. You are very knowledgeable on the subject and the topic. Just, and again, and thank you, first off, James. First off, thank you. The facts of the matter is I would never go, and I've said it a few times, I just would never go into a fucking music producer place and fucking claim to know how to fucking make beats. I can't make no fucking beats. You know what I mean? Outside of me understanding what beatboxing in and, doing that shit, I don't fucking know how to make a damn beat, bro. I don't know how to play a fucking saxophone. I don't know how to do none of that shit. That's why I don't talk about it. So I would suggest people really fucking question, like really, really, really start to fucking, do a little bit more homework before they start speaking to me about the shit that I speak about. What I speak about, I know about. And I can show it time and time again. I can show it through the Bible. I can show the legal shit that I'm talking about through legal systems, the racism shit that I talk about. I can show that shit. I can show everything. I can back up everything that I say. So please don't question it. And I think because of this, I might do a show sometime this week and literally just get down to business in the Bible and break down this whole fucking Bible. And I think what I might do is show the Hebrew and show the Hebrew, show the Greek, and show fucking the Latin and the English. You know what I mean? And then, y'all motherfuckers can say all you want. And you can challenge it. All right? So with that being said, man, everybody have a beautiful fucking rest of your week. It's the hump day, man. We're over the hump day and we're done with this shit. You know what I mean? Oh, you graduated with a BA from Christian University. I want to debate you on the topic. Well, James, thank you. I appreciate that. Very much so. Very, very, very much so, sir. Thank you very much. You know what I mean? So, thank you for that very much, bro. So with that being said, man, I will talk to you guys later. I'll talk to you guys next Wednesday. Definitely, I will be here. I'll be here at 8 or maybe even 7. I'm thinking about starting the show a little bit earlier. And so I think I might start a little bit earlier. So I'll be back next Wednesday. And I will think about everything. But if I don't see you guys during the week, I will definitely see you on Wednesday. With that being said, thank you for everyone that's came in. Thank you for everybody that's talked. Thank you for y'all opinions. And thank you just for listening to the shit, to breakdowns of shit. Because you didn't have to do it. Without you, there is no me. There is no Rob. There is nobody else. All right. I did today as you are one of three people. Oh, definitely. I will check that out when I get off of here. Thank you for telling me to do that. I will. All right. So with that, everybody have a great night. We'll talk to you again next week, and then we will go from there. Stay up.